How could we make an entire video about victory royales from Group 1 without including that 1v3 clutch from Donny? Throughout this season, Donny has struggled to find a trio that fit, only making one divisional final all season. So, decided to join forces with Mason and Chance for their play-ins. After a rough day at the office in the group stage, and not even being close to the top 5 to qualify for Grands, it looked like Donny was going to have yet another disappointing tournament. That was until Game 4 came along. Throughout the entire of this game, they played Storm Surge really well, picking up damage as they were rotating out of their drop spot, and getting a couple of eliminations in the mid-game to top up their heals and materials going into the endgame. Because of this earlier work, they were able to be a lot less aggressive in the early stages of endgame when it came to damage and refreshes. When the 10th zone pulls back through the old builds, they can use all of those extra heals that they gathered from the earlier eliminations to tank Storm and get to the front side of low ground using splashes to heal. All seems to be going well until Chance goes down in the 11th zone and Mason also falls while trying to take height in the 12th zone. Now, as a solo, the pressure was on Donny to break this run of subpar performances this season and push for a Grands qualification. Trying to hold on with the materials that he has, Visuals goes down above him, and thankfully for Donny, he actually gets the elimination credit and the Siphon. Now dropping down, he can take out the first player of the remaining trio, hit an incredible shot on the second player, and use the Siphon game to stay in Storm and close out the win as the third opponent goes down in the Storm. Topping off an incredible solo clutch from Donny, propelling his team into the Grand Finals. For more incredible action just like these two wins, don't miss Groups 2 and 3 this weekend.
We've Cash now. If it ain't me, it's bad, bad. Stack my dough and back bread. I'm on the road like bad gas. Gas by the assets. I pass off your fact checks. I pay no mind, I'm way too busy getting cash checks. That's just a facet, and you can't make the fame last. I need a whistle to official to be in your gameplay.
What's going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the FNCS Heat number 3. One final chance to make it through straight to the Major 1 finals before the last chance qualifier. Now is do or die. We want to make that happen right here because we don't want to wait that long. We don't want to fight through that separate gauntlet. We're breaking down what we're seeing today, the new trios coming in, and of course our expectations on the day. But I need two friends to help me do that. It's Kelly, Link, it's Vivid. Your friends, you know them, you love them. We're not friends. Kelly, you didn't know we're... Anyway, Kelly, it's great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. I feel so much better now. I'm so excited to be here with my friends and to all of you watching as well. We're going to be finding 10 more teams that will be going into the Major 1 finals. And I mean, Zeke, I feel like Group 1 was a bit of an appetizer. Yesterday, we got the main course, but now it's time for dessert.
Love the way that you went ahead and put that there, Kelly. Yeah, I mean, space is kind of running out. We've already got 20 great teams in the finals. Still got room for 10 more, though. Going to be very, very interesting how Group 3 kind of shakes it up. Maybe they've learned something from how Group 1 and Group 2 played out.
Let's hope, man, because again, with that last chance qualifier looming, we want to try and make that qualification happen today. Let's take a look at that format in case maybe you've not been keeping up with Fortnite since 2025. Basically, today we're playing for the Victory Royale, which will auto qualify us, or to end the day in the top 5 in consistency. But Kelly, again, that last chance qualifier, it's going to get much harder to qualify through that.
Yeah, and it's open up to all divisions, so we can expect a lot more teams competing, and only 3 of those trios are going to be able to make it into the major finals, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, how stressful is that, right? Like, we've already got some teams kind of sweating it out that did not qualify through groups 1 and 2, and now group 3 is looking like, oh, look at that, it's almost our time to play. If we don't qualify today, we're also going to have to go through that last chance qualifier, which is crazy because, like Kelly mentioned, open to all the divisions there, so it's kind of like its own tournament of itself, but there's only 3 who come out on top. Super scary.
Scary stuff. That's a future us problem, right? Right now, we just got to focus in on Heat 3. Let's talk about some of the trios we'll be seeing compete here today. Let's start really simply here. Rabbit, Kanata, Bolts. I mean, Kanata, longtime veteran of the scene. Bolts, a champion in his own right. Rapid, an absolute legend. What can we expect from this trio today?
Oh, I think we can expect a lot from them. They had a great performance in the play-ins, getting 3rd place overall with 238 eliminations. That was the 2nd most of any team we've saw. And of course, you said it, Zeke, Kanata, he is an incredibly decorated player. He is the only player in the world to make every single FNCS finals. That is 24 finals. And I think we can expect him to make it 25.
Yeah, I mean, we got to bring that setup every single time we talk about Kanata. And I love talking about Kanata because he's so easy to talk about. I mean, yeah, we've been watching him for so long, right? You know, we've seen him go through stages, IGL stages, Fragger stages, all of that. And he always succeeds very, very well. Now kind of the tradition over to trios, a couple of bumps in the road and figuring one out. But hey, listen, he's here. And like Kelly mentioned, an incredible performance in the play-ins are looking good.
Yeah, I love that their drop spot as well. Demon's Dojo, they have that entire northeast corner all to themselves. And although that might be a little bit, you know, of a question mark onto how they're going to be able to handle Storm Surge, I mean, it's this trio. I don't think that's going to be much of a problem at all for them.
All right, okay, so let's maybe talk about Kanata's old trio, right? We saw the shakeup recently, so now we're looking at Ajors, Acorn, and Poyo. Talk to me about this trio and maybe what we can expect from them, because like obviously with this shakeup, picking up a global champion seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this trio, all of them have their own accolades as well. In fact, they actually have the most FNCS titles out of any NA trio, and that's including Peterbot's trio as well. And it's kind of interesting to see that, you know, Poyo, the global champion, losing his duo mate of Peterbot, Acorn, one of the best players in the world, losing his duo mate of Cold, and then, of course, you have Ajors, who actually won Chapter 4 Major 3 with Kanata. So the three of them together just has to be a recipe for success, right?
I mean, absolutely. But when I look at this trio list, my eyes just automatically glue over to Acorn. I feel like last year, maybe even the year before, started to get a lot of praise for being the best IGL maybe ever in the game, right? He's so respected because he's been doing so well in that role for so long across multiple game modes. And with kind of that switch back over to trios, I would expect that to stay the exact same.
Okay. All right, so let me put you guys on the hot seat here. Let's compare Poyo and Kanata, right? Let's say maybe take a look at some of the numbers leading us into today. So when we kind of took a look at the Div Cup finals weeks 1 through 4 rather, you know, Kelly, the number's pretty close, but something seems to change when they change trios.
Yeah, so let's set the stage a little bit, right? Kanata did play with Acorn and Ajors for the first 4 weeks of the divisional cups, and they placed top 3 every single week. And Poyo, playing with Rapid and Bolt, were able to place second twice. So it was a bit of an interesting shakeup when we saw that Kanata was dropped for Poyo, and then Kanata went over to Poyo's old trio. Now, as we can see, after that initial change where Poyo almost doubles the amount of eliminations that Kanata was able to get and increases his damage as well, where before they were even. I think a lot of that could be due to, and I say this in a positive way, Kanata's a very emotional player. And again, in a positive way, we've seen the biggest pop-offs come from him. And I think, that, again, it's a positive thing. And so I think when the switch up originally happened, it may have affected him a bit negatively. But obviously, that didn't seem to affect him too much in the play-ins. And he has seemed to recover since then, vibes-wise, over the last few weeks. So I think, although those numbers show that maybe the trade for Poyo is better, I don't know if that's the case that we're going to see today.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we always talk about with trios, right, is the communication has to be there, the vibes have to be there. You kind of have to relearn how your trio kind of works. And when you are switching up your entire trio, sometimes it's just going to be harder for certain trios to kind of adapt. So maybe that little bit of a lackluster performance from Kanata there in comparison to Poyo, of course, in that first initial week that they played with those new trios, it was just like, oh, well, listen, we haven't really adjusted yet, but quickly bounce back in the play-ins.
Okay, let's hope, right? We got 5 games to make anything happen, and I know if anyone can make something happen, it's Kanata. Now, before we keep the ball rolling, let's go meet up with your casters. It's Jacob PR and Monster D-Face.
That's right, we're ready for Group 3. Yesterday was a blast, but like we said, that's just getting things started here. Now, as we are bending into Group 3 here, Jacob, I mean, what are your expectations?
I mean, we talked about, or the analyst has talked about the expectations of the superstars, but I want to look at 3 teams, the bottom right hand of the map. It's Taki, Ishao, Npen, it's Noxy, Virgo, and Curly, and then Noah plays Chaos Gaming and DC Awesomer. All 3 of these trios have potentials to not only win a game, but get through inconsistency. And the biggest bonus factor, Monster, is they are all uncontested.
That's right. They're going to have a lot of favor, I would say, down at the bottom as well, because up at the north, Flooded Frogs, Whippy Wharfs, it's not looking good. Magic Mosses has teams landing there. We're talking about some of the better drops this map has to offer, so those teams are possibly setting themselves up for failure. But hey, look at Sonato, Veer, and Crew, that what they did yesterday. They did manage to compete at a very high level, although they were contested. So we're not crossing out any of those highly contested teams. However, it is going to be all the more difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one for anybody here to kind of overcome any of these odds. But enough of us yapping. Let's get back to the devs so they can break down more of what we're about to see.
Thank you guys so much. We'll be back with you shortly. Now, Monster Face mentioned contested. We wanted to highlight just a couple quick things for you in that regard. We're actually looking at Day versus Cosmo over at Flooded Frogs.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to go ahead and highlight Flooded Frogs because we saw a lot of action. Big kind of switch ups. When a team qualifies out of Flooded Frogs, a lot of teams kind of sort of gravitate towards the best POI on the map right now. But whenever I take a look at that contestation up there, my eyes, they focus in on Day, right? A player who's been playing for a very long time. So long, in fact, that, you know, kind of his rise to fame was actually in the Trios game mode. If anybody remembers the names, Reverse, Day, and Mirror, they were so dominant as a trio. So it's exciting to see Day kind of, you know, in the competition here today.
Yeah, and this is the real day, not the yesterday, but today's day is the real day.
The new day that's not yesterday's day, today's day. Right. There's also another trio we're really excited to see compete today. It is Somerset. We've got a drop map for you. However, she is contested going up against Gary.
Yeah, I mean, same kind of situation over at Warriors Watch. Of course, Kelly, awesome to see Somerset making it into group number 3 here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Somerset has been such a staple for the female community for so long. She's won several Women of the Arenas. She got 3rd place in the Milk Cup LAN, and she has just also been a beacon of the community. So I'm so excited to see her compete today.
Well, lucky for you, Fortnite fan, we actually caught up with Somerset before this show, so check this out. What's going on, Somerset? Welcome to the FNCS. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so how does it feel? You've made it to the group stage. What's going through your mind?
Honestly, there's so much going through my mind. Just the fact that I even got here in the first place. I feel like we've done a lot over the last week, just kind of prepping for everything, and I feel like we feel pretty confident, but I think I'll have those like first battle bus nerves before playing.
That's fair. That's fair, right? Like, and I think that's pretty expected. Anyone would feel very similarly. So, you know, coming in, we can either get through on a Victory Royale or we can get through on consistency. Where are you targeting, right? Is it going to be that Victory Royale? Are you going to just try and play for that consistency? Where are you at?
Honestly, I feel like it kind of comes hand in hand. Like if you're going for a Victory Royale, you're getting the consistency points you need because you're getting close to a win. So I feel like I'm kind of shooting for both, but obviously I think it'd be pretty cool to go out with a bang and just kind of win a game. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Okay, I like the confidence. It's there. Any pressure knowing that you could be the first female player to qualify or a finals?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of pressure. I would say it's more exciting than anything. I feel like I've always tried to be a pretty big advocate for the women's scene and just participating and like kind of paving the way. But honestly, yeah, I would say there's a lot of pressure from every point. Just like a lot of people having eyes on you and like wanting you to do good. So I just kind of like want to prove like the haters wrong and just do my absolute best to just blow people's minds.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, as you just said, I mean, you're kind of a beacon, right? There's so many people that want to see you succeed on basically every part of the community. So I wish you nothing but the best. Final question before we say goodbye. So how do you feel about this group overall? You've gotten to watch groups 1 and 2, and you've kind of been able to kind of develop a plan here. So coming into this last one, how are you feeling about the group kind of overall?
Overall, I feel pretty confident about it. I think I'd be more nervous if it wasn't players that I've been playing against every week. I mean, with the way like the division cups are set up and everything, you're kind of playing against these exact same players in heats as you are in, say, for example, your Div 1 cups. So it's not people that I haven't fought before and we've done well to get here. So I just honestly, I feel like I'm not going to be as nervous as I would if I just, you know, needed like a top 33 for a finals. Like it's a little bit different.
Well, yeah, of course. So before we say goodbye, where can all the fans find you? Because everyone needs to go and follow you.
Somerset on all platforms with an O, not a U. A lot of people get it confused, but that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, Somerset, best of luck, and we can't wait to see you compete today. There you go. We are all excited. And I mean, like, Somerset has to do this, right? Like, this would be just such an incredible moment to see Somerset come out on top and make it to a finals. And of course, go on to win the global championship, because that's what I wrote in the long-term script. But that's a script I haven't showed you guys. That's a secret script. Yeah.
I mean, you could hear how confident she was. And again, she is a veteran in her own right. She has been competing in Fortnite competitive tournaments for years now. And so to see her be able to jump into this, like, kind of, you know, unfamiliar territory and to prove herself and to do it with this kind of confidence in her, I'm just really excited to see how she performs today.
Yeah, of course, we'll be rooting for her today for sure. But she kind of pointed out herself, right? She was feeling pretty confident because she's been playing against these players pretty much all of the weeks, right? So she's kind of like used to it. But the more and more reps you get in, not specifically the players themselves, but just the caliber of players, she's just going to get better and better. So today's just going to be huge ups for Somerset, regardless of what happens.
I love it. I love it. We are rooting for Somerset. Now, of course, few moments here before we start off the competition. What are we hoping to see, right? We've gotten 2 different weeks of this, right? And now this is it. Heat 3. We're here. We need to qualify. So what are you guys hoping to see?
I want to see what we got to see yesterday, where it was Peterbot trio versus Vidil's trio. I want to see Kanata's trio versus Pollo's trio in game 1 at the end, 3v3.
Well, listen, you know, Kelly, you might get exactly what you asked for, because, you know, Kanata posted on socials earlier this week, Do-Rag Nada is back this week. I think he was locked in all week. I think he's ready to go.
Okay, well, I'm ready to go too. So let's get ready to kick off the first game. Casters, please save me.
You know, nothing beats Kanata when he's in the zone, especially when he's got the full fit on. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think right now the pressure is on Jacob, though, that he really has to perform, right? He has a legacy to live up to right now. He's had a bit of an up and down week overall. So what do you think?
I think he's one of those players that Kelly kind of said it, like, kind of leads with his emotions, plays with just all out passion. So when that switch up actually happened at first, I agree, probably took it hard, but now he has something to prove. I feel like for Kanata, this isn't just about winning a game. This isn't just about qualifying. This is making a statement.
And pride, right? Think about Acorn, of course, as well. He's someone who is a true competitor at heart. I know him very well in person. I've seen what he does when it comes down to his Fortnite game. We all have. Let's see what happens here for game number 1. All right, Jacob, Group 3 is here. I'm looking forward to it. 5 games of Fortnite in front of us, and then we start to gear up for the finals week ahead of us. This is going to be a very fun day because we get to really round out these storylines. I think the stage has been set for us, and the fact that we even get to watch Warriors watch off the gate as well potentially here is something to look forward to.
Yeah, and I called the group stages the golden opportunity. 10 spots per group. This is the last chance for these teams to make it in with a little bit more ease. And Somerset already getting some decent loot right out of the gates. The SMG, the Typhoon Blade, trying to close the distance. But you see they're kind of separated in different packs of trios, trying to loot up before they make this all-out engagement happen.
Here's the thing, pressure is on Somerset to perform right now, given that she said it herself. She's got a lot of haters that she wants to prove wrong right now. For Gary, Doxy, and G's, I mean, they have everything to gain right now. And look at how they're playing, just ratting around the base, trying to look for an opportunity to, of course, get that first tag. It's really going to solidify who gets to win this battle right now.
Yeah, when you kind of look at experience in finals lobbies, like Somerset and her trio don't really have any finals appearances, but on the other side, it's only 6 split between the actual trio as well. So I think this is a good, evenly matched fight for both of these trios to really get a handle on this game, to really start to make a little bit happen early on and set the tone and the pace. So I do like a little bit of a slow start here. Don't make any big mistakes. Don't give up any inches, as they would say.
See how Gary, Doxy, and G's are going to look to reinitiate here. G still up top looking down. Carrot's got a bit of a side angle. Siege is going to be the first to get jumped on, though. The shot goes through, and G takes a small win there and backs off, but I'm not sure if that was the right play.
Yeah, I think G's kind of had a great opportunity. The window was open, tried to climb right in, but knowing he was by himself, he just took that shot, took the damage, reconvened back down to the bottom with the rest of the team. And this is one of those situations. We saw it on day 1, group 1. We saw it yesterday. Sometimes these contested fights, no matter how good that you have it in terms of loot, when one team has high ground, one team has low ground, it's kind of a little bit of a stalemate.
I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting Bucky and team to come in pretty quickly. There's a heated rivalry there from days pass. We'll see how that ends up developing. Boyo, Agers, Acorn looking just fine. They got their drops themselves. Things are settling in here. Meanwhile, Moxie and Day are getting absolutely active at their drop here at the Flooded Frogs. This is one battle that we knew was going to be taking its course, and it's ending faster than I think anyone expected, with another team looking to jump on in. If they don't end this fast here, Jacob, it's going to be third-party Central all day long.
Yeah, and just unfortunately, Moxie just got separated too far away from Day. Even with damage there, Day is trying to clean it up. At least one player is going to go down. Draco's scrambling around, but it was another trio that entered into the mix. Exactly what you were saying. They just took quite too long. Day's down. Draco's down. Jedi's the only one left. Brain, but he gets taken down as well. Flooded Frogs contested by 2 teams, but it's the third party that's going to be the last one standing.
Sad part about that, this team, Prom, Status, and Mafia, land literally to the south. They have no one necessarily contesting them that they have to worry about, given that the team at Magic Mosses has to take their fight, right? So they have just all the time in the world to rotate north after they get their loot. If Day can't finish that fight quickly, it's going to be like this all day long. They're going to come in and sweep things up. Looks like Kanata Bolts and Rapid here are set up for success so far. Again, big name teams looking just fine. We're doing our checks here as we jump around game number 1 of Group 3 here. Edgy, Quanti, and of course, Bilo. We expect a lot of big things from. They have the Mass Meadows completely to themselves. One of the big observations here is that this is one of those drops that have a lot to yield, but you can see being down low, gonna have to make a move here to play for that center location. Jumping back up with Sharkman and Elsa, though. Seems like a fight's breaking out.
This looks like a third party on the Warriors watch, and neither team were the original ones, except for Sieges goes down. Somerset's out as well. It looks like that full trio is dropped. Sharkman, Round, Elsa just taking advantage of these prolonged off-spawn exchanges. Basically, I've seen it 2 for 2 so far with Warriors watch and Flooded Frogs.
This is tough because, look, the other team is still here. The team that, of course, contested originally Somerset is still sitting around. Gary G's and Doxy have managed to somehow survive the onslaught of the new team rotating in. And just like that, Sharkman, Elsa, and Raul are considering if whether or not they're going to even fight this team now.
Yeah, they're just getting high ground right now. That way you can get a better vantage point of everybody that is down below you. They know at least one trio crashed and landed there, and that's why they're kind of being very, very cautious. But you can kind of see in the minimap 2 different individuals even rotating around that map. Raul, Elsa, and Sharkman, they realize Gary's just a little bit too separated from the rest of his team, and they're taking that as a green light to go. But the third parties come in yet again, causing a little bit of a distraction. Just causing him to pause, reposition, and reassess the situation, trying to figure out if it's actually worth or not to continue to play aggressive.
I gotta say, I do like this strategy from Sharkman's trio. They land at the Canyons crossing, so rotating north for them is a really short trip here. And it does seem like that's going to be the trend of the day. If you are being contested, Group 3 teams seem to be taking complete advantage of that with these quick, snappy rotates in.
Almost makes you wonder of having the benefit of getting Group 3. You can watch Group 1. You have a whole week to VOD review those teams. You watch Group 2. You have a day to VOD review those teams. And I feel like we have been seeing a little bit more increasing aggression, especially on these off-spawn battles. And I think that's a prime example of teams kind of realizing what's going down around the lobby and trying to take advantage of it as early as possible. As we jump on board, Foxy, Floodgate, Ocus, Craze, and Bucky, which I think I saw Bucky in the feed at least get knocked early on. So it's great to see him kind of pick himself back up, dust himself off, and really get back to what we know they can do.
Yeah, I was going to say, shout out to the team for giving us the update here. I'm sure people were curious as to what all unfolded here, but it seems like the reboot, or at least a save, was worth it. Bucky's still in the game. Oliver OG, Skater, and Dash, one of the teams that we are going to be keeping our eyes on. The last time Oliver OG called his way to a finals was absolutely hype. He did it into the final moments. Oliver OG now is trying to see if he can keep up that momentum.
And you can kind of see his drop spots. I know exactly what time you were talking about. He usually picks these drop spots that you actually need to have almost a perfect drop to get the weapons, to get the good off-spawn drop. So it kind of remains uncontested more times than not. It's another example of that as we see Noah play DC Awesomer. Chaos Gaming rotating all the way up from the north. They land over towards Hopeful Heights, uncontested, so they get the surrounding land as well. And they're wasting no time trying to follow the zone. They realize how important Storm Surge actually is in these lobbies. It's almost like currency. You're able to kind of pay your way to control your own destiny and do exactly what you want. Because you know as well as I do, when you're down on Surge, you almost got to see a team and go.
Yeah, the thing is, if you set yourself up for big damage, you get a nice contested battle early on. You could be one of the few teams that can actually play for center, zone, and prime positioning, right? It's almost a luxury to be able to find yourself in that type of situation. Most teams don't, though, right? They end up on the edges, and things look very tough. It's like fighting an uphill battle. For NPen, Ishu, and Taki, they might be in that same type of boat as they rotate back to the Seaport City here for one reason or another.
Ooh. Feeling just a little bit too comfortable there on that rotation. Gets beamed by the team on the high ground. They were kind of following him on that mountaintop. And you can kind of see they're not necessarily converged in the same box. They're a little bit spread out. I talked about it yesterday, just being able to cover more ground and see more players. And that's another good example because then they were able to converge in 3-2-1 because they were also still in close proximity. But the fights continue around the map. Scuffies, Fuzak, Crook down below trying to take a more aggressive approach. They have a huge health advantage here as well, Monster.
Yeah, one of these little ponds, of course, that have become a hotspot now with all the shieldfish you can get from it. This is going to be quite an interesting fight here between Straw's trio. Let's see how it's going to end up playing out. Water Sprite's going to come down and go and fully recap them. A little bit of a scrappy back and forth here, but it seems like a disengage is going to be called. Meanwhile, just north of them, looks like a whole other battle is about to break out with Champ's team. Give you guys the update on that in just a second.
I feel like some players kind of feel like they kind of spot somebody out as a solo. They try to go. You kind of saw it in the background. The teammates were still there, especially with the Void Mask. It's easy to close the distance and get back your teammate in no time. Fishy, Rojo, and Dragon just trying to get as much Surge as possible. Another team that's choosing to spread out. It's not always about the Surge bases, though. As you can see, the bushes still proved to be a good utilization to where you can try to sneak some shots. But as soon as the players know you're there, it's good what Fishy's doing. Disengage, get back with the team, get more cover, and just play a little bit safer.
We'll take a look at this update right here. Rapid, Agers, Boyo right now. You got a little push happening. They're starting to move. It's not looking good for Rapid. He's on the run here. Pressure back against the wall. Low HP. This is all but over here now as Agers takes the wall, and it's going to be Boyo who finds the final shot there. And that's just a single elimination. So this is not one that was started by them, but they surely are finishing the deed here.
Don't get it confused, though. Different Rapid from across the map. That is not the trio of Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid. Two different points.
Oh, okay, you had me going in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like,
okay,
I don't know
no, I
what
just want to
happened
make
here.
sure everybody knows it's just the kind of the beginning spot right there. So good opportunity right there because Kanata and them, they land over towards Demon's Dojo. It's not going to be the easiest thing for them to fly across the map because I was thinking the same thing. Oh my God, they're getting their revenge.
Shout out to Jacob bringing logic to the equation there. As I'm like, this Rapid is, I don't know how he's here, but he's by himself. They only have one elimination. Well, it's still a set of points for them, and more importantly, damage, right? Think about yesterday in the game dynamic of how the rounds played out. I would say games 1 through 3 relatively stacked in Group 2, and then 4 and 5 teams got desperate. Players started to key, and by the time Game 5 came around, I mean, it really was, you know, all hell breaking loose, figuratively, all over the map, man, as teams were just pushing, and the lobby got cut down fast. You have Champ, Slate, Salt right now, moving out of the Flooded Frogs. This is the team that you saw just early on, of course. Rotate through, and they're not looking to take the fight up against Shipsky's team there.
I feel like they're almost hoping the zone continues to kind of move in their favor. You see it's over here towards Brutal Boxcars where Oracle, Smitty, and Aiden are already positioned. They don't have the highest mountain range, but they're in a good spot to where a lot of teams are going to have to rotate in and around their position, especially here, even though it's not a drastic pull towards the north, but you can see all those teams outside of the zone on the south side, they're going to have to eventually try to find their way in. And as long as they're not too far down the Storm Surge thresholds where it activates and they have to kind of go in, I think they'll be quite all right.
We've casted over 10 games of Fortnite in the last 2 weeks, and we Haven't really seen many northern heavy pull zones like this. So this is going to be a bit of a first for us as we're going kind of towards the Flutter Frogs. These islands are going to populate. A lot of teams down here. This is a bit further south, southeast. Look at all the squads that can decide to go up. Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts are going to be one of the first to go in and take the plunge here to the top.
I almost thought for a second we were going to see Bucky and his trio go up there, because remember what, back in the day when Rift Island, especially when it had the 15 points, it was Bucky and his duo at the time just continuously going up there, dominating the space. This time around, I think it was just kind of a little bit too congested. Kanata was one of the first ones to react, Orban towards the top. Even though he took some damage, he at least solidified the spot at the top of the Shogun's arena, making it a little bit more risky for any team to contest there, even if they're not necessarily going for the boss.
I'd appreciate as well as they all initiate together. Think about this. Taking their time, making sure they have full control of the islands, and then they take down the boss with that Shogun Medallion. That's going to be a big pickup for them as well. Just think about the advantage that they're going to gain right now. The ability to essentially turn invisible and infinite sprint is insane when you put that in the hands of, I don't know who's going to pick it up. Let's be honest. What do you think is going to take it?
Kanata. I think Kanata, no doubt. I would concede Bolts maybe getting it, but Kanata, I feel like since its inception of that medallion, he's been kind of the guy that runs it, especially in the end game. But not too far off where they're positioned. You got enough. Bobby and Boone. They have 3 finals appearances this season. Increasingly getting better, and I like to see they sticking together as a trio as well.
See how it's going to end up.
Oh, he doesn't got it.
One right here, yeah. He does not. Okay. It's up to Bolts or Rapid. It's going to be Bolts. We thought about it. It does seem like Bolts is going to be the man with the advantage on the field right now. That's a lot of trust you got to have in your teammate, of course, to go on and give that one up.
I like the selfless play, though. Realizing the kind of situation, and like I said, it was one of my 2 players there. Bolts increasingly getting better, because remember, before FNCS went away and came back, he was the last FNCS West champion along with Thoric, and he took it by just getting aggressive. Almost a close call, but he still made it happen. Rexo, Shipsky Games, and Furtus on the other side trying to make their way in. They found an opportunity there with the old fish base, just taking advantage of all the shield fish, the floppers, making sure they have the right mix of heals to make it through this next portion of the game.
Very curious to see how this is going to work out for them right now. Playing a bit of the storm here, plenty of fish. Close enough to the edge if they wanted to drag it in, but with the trio there, seems like just on a little bit of a pivot into their strategy right now. Catch a little update here with other teams right now. Olaf, Max, and Smiley already have 2 eliminations just outside the pumped power. Not bad for a game 1 start here for this trio.
Yeah, and we know how important those early eliminations are. We saw some teams yesterday kind of use those early game scuffles to make it all the way through the end game, go and rotating towards the slow side, where they didn't have to worry about anything other than rotation. As Tragic Fall and M Shaw, they got to worry about Acorn, Poyo, and Agers right behind them, rotating very parallel. Even when they try to make their way forward directly in towards the zone, there's still teams positioned in and all around them, and they still got a mountain to climb while being down below the storm surge threshold. So it's going to be interesting to see how they pick it up.
Agers, Poyo, and Acorn, 38 below the surge. This is not looking good right now. They're starting to heal, looking for the reset here so they can get in. This is a tough spot to be in. I'm actually more surprised the fact that teams rotated wide and around like this. There's a lot of activity happening up here, given how contested this area was. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense that teams would stick around, but Agers, Poyo, and Acorn, one of the highest caliber trios in the lobby, jump up, and they're really demanding respect right here. The damage easily achieved at this rate. Eliminations now coming through as Ager jumps in on Scuffies and takes him down pretty quickly.
I really don't know who found that opportunity, but they saw he was a solo, and all three just immediately pushed. Even with him trying to get out, that Fury AR from Pollo just did way too much damage. Now it's going to be a 3v2, and it's almost isolated with every team having to rotate far to the east, including them with a far pull. I don't see too many teams interrupting this fight just to get some damage from close proximity. They just continue to push forward. Not wanting to let these two eliminations escape them. 200 damage above the threshold. Above and beyond where they were at just moments ago. But Acorn taking just a little bit too much damage. They're going to have to choose to slow things down just a little bit. And in this moment, that's going to allow for that duo to kind of get out, disengage, and make their way towards zone.
Saw on the feed there, Oliver OG taking out Quanti. Edgy's down as well. Big trades happening everywhere as the Surge is active and forcing teams into engagements right now. This is what we love to see. Oh, we get to jump in on MPen, Ishu, and Taki right now, who are above the Surge. Also seems to be coming off a potential set of eliminations, but the zone also favors them too, so they'll have a nice, easy rotate. Fishy's team, though, is under Surge. Down they come, and they're pushing pretty quickly now. They do have heals to possibly sustain a bit here, as just a couple more players have to fall, but it's all breaking out now. NPen and team don't really want anything to do with this. They're trying to let the Surge kind of do its part. And now they look for the rotate. Seems like both sides got just what they needed to stay in the game for now. Look at this. They put themselves between two trios. Shots are coming in on the fresh builds.
Oh, there's so many trios stacked behind here moments ago. This is how they were getting their Surge. We saw them 500-600 above. It was these two eliminations right here. And potentially the third, just a full-on squad wipe they were able to get their loot. And I think from that, you know as well as I do, when the other team started to push in because they were down Surge, with Surge active, no one's just going to wildly take a fight like that. So you just got to figure out a way, play defensive, bide your time, and just like you said, let Storm Surge do its thing.
Deca Fishy, bow shot flow right now. Have the zone coming towards their western side, so they should be just chilling here in a second, but Surge all of a sudden swings against them. They jump in on Enough's team right in front. They're moving as a three-man unit. Side angle comes out. Boone just makes the wrong edit there and gets absolutely punished. That they pull his teammate back. This is a very interesting decision right now for them to back off. And oh no, I said that too early. They're looking for a better angle, something a little bit more favorable for them right now. And the Surge damage, they got a lot of it in that bit of an exchange here. No eliminations, but hey, you know what? Enough to stay alive in the game, and that's going to keep them content. So what happens now, Jacob, though, is another team falls below, right? So this is all back and forth. Either way, if no one gets eliminated, it's going to be problems for these trios.
Yeah, and it's not even that many players that do need to go down. Just two need to fall. Storm Surge to turn off, at least until the next zone. You're going to see it kind of drop down. 14 after that. Storm Surge is going to be active for quite a while, so it's not going to be easy for any of these guys to overcome. But with shots like that, Flo's doing work, but it finally turns around. Bow shot goes down. Flo dropped to 10 HP. He's at least trying to get the revive. If they have the time here, if the zone does favor them, they could make this play happen.
Looking at this fight, and he goes, but no. Eulogy just gets eaten alive right there. Flo, Decky, and both getting punished, though. All that activity now bringing the attention of the remaining players in the lobby here, but this ultimate low position's a cheeky spot to play. They're gonna go for the save here. They get it. Off they go now. Wood coming out. This might make them a target, but seem like the dust is starting to settle all the teams. Now we're looking for a chance. Acorn and Agers, Boyo continuing the push here. Not content with just being 100 above the Surge. They need a little bit more. Oh, Acorn finds himself out of position, as does Boyo. It's up to Agers now. He's the healthiest on the trio. What can he do here? He's going to go and sit down for a second. Everyone's looking for a bit of a reset. And they put all that pressure in, but nothing came out of it.
10 players need to go down before Storm Surge even turns off, so they know how long and how hard fought this is going to be. Only 60 above. It's enough for them to feel comfortable rotating in, but they know in the blink of an eye things can change. They're going to have to start getting a little bit more proactive, aggressive even, and this is something that's been ailing them almost all game long, but they're doing a phenomenal job handling the pressure.
Oliver OG, Skater, Dash, 6 eliminations for this trio right here. And even then, they still have a lot to worry about. Meanwhile, Kanata finds himself a nice elimination here of Bolts and Rapid. They're right back in the game and looking healthier than ever. material count absolutely rock solid now. High ground secured off the trio back there, and they're going to be able to build heavily from here onwards.
Wow.
This could be the game one. Book closed here for Bolts, Rapid, and Kanata. Let's not forget they also have the medallion, so all the advantage in the world right now. And look at the bills that are coming out here.
Yeah, typically I'm thinking 8 zone, a little bit too early, but Kanata went from like 75 materials to max maps. You got to imagine his teammates as well, feeling comfortable, but in the distance, Agers, Acorn, Pollo still under the Storm Surge threshold, but the right opportunities, the right time. They peek at the high ground, land a couple shots to do just enough to get above. But now that's given away their attention, the focus. Bolts, Rapid, Kanata, they all know another team's position on that side, and with the zone pulling all the way over, working in their favor yet again. I'm not sure how many teams are going to be able to contest them without risking everything in a 50-50.
I like what I'm seeing from this team right now, though. They are not looking to take any risk here. Seems like the win is all but secured now, but Boyo, Agers, and Acorn seems like they have something else to say about it. They're starting to rotate early to the front side, but they find themselves below the surge again here. About 5 or so players will have to fall, I believe. So give it some time here. They're still looking.
That's what I like. Even when Storm Surge is threatening them, it's not active yet. They don't have to go in. They're just waiting for opportunities like this. That's all the Bro G. That's Dash. That's Skater. They get separated, taken down, and a huge pick-me-up opportunity for Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. But the tables turn. Aggression turns on them. They're quickly trying to maneuver their way out. Exactly that. That refresh, the siphon materials was huge for them to be able to escape that.
Oliver G, I don't know what you're looking at, buddy, but you're not that team. You need to check your focus somewhere else. There it is. He starts looking at Noah Plays team and DC Awesomer. Very weakened team right in front of him. Opportunity still in front of him. Oliver clutching up the points right now, though. You have to give him credit. This is a huge surprise to me, though, to see Acorn's team playing mid-ground right now. I expected them to be on the ultimate low, but the fact that they are potentially playing for height, keep eyes on Kanata's trio. They are not safe just yet. Meanwhile, Taki, Ishu, and Empen, beautiful rotates right here. Everyone else focused on the above situation, but no, look, Agers, Boyo, Acorn go back to the trusty, right? They kind of lower their elevation right now and are looking for more refreshes, more points here.
Yeah, they're instantly just trying to move to the front side of the zone, grab the side of a lot of these teams' walls, and just try to play aggressive. And elimination after elimination, it seems to be working. Not getting a lot of material siphon match, but that's just enough for them to do the job. As we tune into Oliver OG's solo story, 45 points so far, and he's trying to figure out how to make it work with only one build left.
He tried to get under that code. I respect the play, but unfortunately was caught out there still. Big top 10 put in for him there as he gets a couple points. 8 eliminations now for Agers, Acorn, and Pollo as they start making their way masterfully through the zones here, up and over that cliff. Now they're onto flat land. If they get too much time to settle in, they can potentially start to turn their focus in to the high ground teams. Let's see how it's going to end up playing out, though. Still 8 trios in the game here. N-Pen caught with the wall open. This is not looking good now. Down he goes. Entire team wiped. That's a huge pickup here, putting them up at 10 eliminations and more material to work with. The points are just racking up now for Boyo, Acorn, and Agers. But the damage is being calculated here as another team turns focus onto them.
Yeah, Acorn's down. Agers, Pollo still not slowing down. They're getting aggressive. Everybody down below. Curly, Virgo, they're the ones going down. Noxie's left by himself with another pick-me-up. That's going to give them enough materials. They can start claiming space down below, but it's the advantage, the full trio up above, that they should be worried about.
I'm now feeling a bit concerned at the material counts up above, but no, seems like it's pretty decent. Kanata's gonna go in and start the split here. Seems like they have to make this decision. Down they go to close this game out. It's a 3v2v1 situation at the moment here, and they are on ultimate height. Anything can still happen now. Once the siphon ends up playing out and these teams start to heal up here, high ground team ends up coming down now. Here they go. It's all starting to unfold here. Boyo unfortunately gets clipped on the side there. Bolts runs through Agers and closes the game out. And just like that, Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts go to finals.
That was just a big win. I felt like they weren't even threatened throughout the course of that game, especially the moment we saw that grouping of eliminations, the max mat refresh. They took height and never looked back. And because of that material count, they were able to kind of make sure they were reinforced every step of the game. Zone 8, not too early for them, Monster.
Liked what I saw there. Well played all the way through. And you know what? It's off the back of that whole entire refresh like we talked about. It's just a rarity to go in and have it play out like that. Take a look at the quick highlights here. Bolts, from his perspective, it was just super easy, but it's what you expect of a team with a medallion, right? You can't trace him. You don't know where he's at. And just like that, the Victory Royale goes to Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts. And we knew they were going to do it, but it feels good to watch them compete there, doesn't it, Zeke?
You know, Monster D-Face, you took the words right out of my mouth. My gosh, they made that look so easy, so clean. And again, like they called out, you know, when you're looking up at height and you're like, dude, they have built a mega structure up there. They've got to be low on mats, right? And then suddenly, Kelly, they get a refresh, and all you're thinking is, well, that's it. They definitely won game 1.
Yeah, I mean, even going back all the way from the beginning, they were able to just clear out Demon's Dojo, get all that loot, rotate really quickly, get the Shogun X Rift Island as well, and get that medallion as well as all of the loot that comes with that too. And then taking high ground from 8th zone, which is usually something that we don't encourage, but they did it so well. Vivid, at one point, they had like a 4-wide tarp. They just had they gave no chance for anyone to even try and chop them down. And there was a few moments where we saw Ager's trio kind of picking up and then giving up trying to take height.
I mean, Zone 8, Zone 9, that pivotal point of the game where we see a lot of teams actually decide to go up and try to establish that high ground. But Jacob, MDF, they talked about it a bunch. 2 eliminations, those big refreshes coming in during that 8th zone. Boom, they went up to the high ground. They're like, wow, we have so many materials. This refresh was huge for us, right? Zeke was talking about it. Teams looked up, giant 4-wide structure, and then we're on Kanata's POV, and Kanata still has max mat, so it's like, oh, okay, well, I think this team's gonna win the game. It seemed like it was pretty easy for them. They had that one figured out.
Yeah, when you pair that as well with that coin, you know, it's just a sheer destructive force that just locked down game number 1, which is a bummer for us, right? Because that means the next time we'll see them is next weekend in Major 1 finals. But there's still more to break down. After this short break, we'll talk about other duos performing well and take a look at the standings. So stay right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to the FNCS. We just got done with game number 1, where Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts, they just put on a clinic, right? They just said, hey, we would just like to go ahead and secure ourselves a spot on the bus. 1 battle bus, please, and just walked away with an easy W. I mean, I don't even know what more we can say about this, Kelly, because it looked effortless.
Yeah, it looked like one of those instructional videos you would find on YouTube of like how to win a game in Fortnite. Absolutely incredible, and they just did it so confidently. It didn't look like they struggled in any element of that game, so props to them. I am so excited to see how they perform in the Major 1 play-ins, or game finals.
Every stage of the game right there, looking for easy them uncontested drop spot, claiming the mid-match objective, that is that Rift Island, and then the end game, we saw that flawless.
So good. But you know what's interesting, and I'm sure it's probably got to feel really good for Kanata, is to get that victory out against Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. I mean, I know it was a 2v3,
right,
but this is why we kind of talked about it at the start of the show, right? They were these trios that kind of swapped Pollo and Kanata. And so in that moment, both are fighting for that victory royale. And, you know, listen, we still have to give props to that's Acorn and Agers mixed together. Agers, Acorn, and Pollo, because they put on like an amazing performance and still placed top 2, right? So in terms of consistency, this is really good for them.
Yeah, the recovery that they made from the middle game, where we saw, I believe, Acorn got really low. Vivid, you called it out while we were watching that they got this, you know, God med kit out of nowhere. But they were kind of holding down middle ground, and then I think that they were getting a little too low on heals, so they dropped to the low ground, and that's where they get all the refreshes that they need, all the loot that they need as well. And Pollo and Agers were just absolutely tearing it up. Even when they did lose Acorn there, they were not putting the foot off of the gas. And getting this amount of eliminations and a second place is definitely putting them into a good position.
Listen, I counted them out a long time ago this game. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think it was like 6 bit zone. I was like, we tuned in with them. They made a north rotate kind of dead side, and we tuned in with them, and they were like 100 below. And I'm like, well, you made that dead side rotate. There's not many teams up here because you're on the dead side. So they were kind of forced into a fight. And yeah, after that, you get behind on those rotates. You have to kind of rotate into a bunch of teams that are established in the zone. And yeah, every single time we tuned in them throughout the rest of the game, low on mats, low on storm surge, pretty much throughout the rest of the game as well. I counted them out, and they were like, hey, Vivid, we don't care. We pulled out a second place from that. So I would hate to see what, you know, a decent mid game from this team looks like, because that, in my opinion, was seriously incredible to be on the back foot seemingly throughout the entire game and pull out that.
And just think, right, in a situation where now Kanata, Rapid, Bolts are good, they've qualified, they have even more breathing room, right? They have even more opportunity to take over a lobby and really get to dictate, okay, we're going to hold height, or maybe we're going, you know, super low ground on the front side of zone, which was pretty sweet, right? And as Kelly pointed out, even when they drop a member, they don't care, right? The foot does not come off the gas. They keep finding eliminations. Now, I did also want to kind of highlight Oliver OG, who is running around as a solo, and still, remember, these solo clutches, they matter, right? Because we're still trying to play for consistency.
Oh yeah, I mean, and also Dash, just again, he was originally on the low ground before Agers' trio was able to drop down there, getting Elim after Elim, but obviously eventually they do go down, as well as their third player there. Oliver OG, though, making sure, because it's not just about eliminations, it's about those placements as well. So to see them doing pretty well, regardless of how many players are left over, is definitely something I want to see out of the OG of Oliver.
Yeah, very easy to kind of talk about the impact of the solo clutches, right? We've seen it happen so many times already, but being on the opposite side there of some pre-edits when we're playing the trios game mode, not easy to defend against.
Very, very tough indeed. Okay, so this should be clear, right? Kelly and Vivid, Agers, Acorn, Pollo, they win game 2, right? Are we all in agreement here?
Usually, that's how that happens, yeah.
I'm surprised you're exposing the script so soon, Zeke.
You know, I like to let the Fortnite fam in on the script that I wrote. I stay up really late writing the script out for the year, and I figured might as well let them in on it. But again, that was just game number 1. So are we hoping to see any adaptations coming out now that, again, we remove Kanata, Rapid, Bolts from this lobby? Not just, you know, Agers, Acorn, and Pollo have breathing room, but everyone else does too.
Well, we saw the drop map over in that northwest side that there were so many trios contesting each other, and now Demon's Dojo and all the surrounding area is open for the taking. And we've seen trios in Group 2, I believe, actually move over to a new position and get the win in Game 4 or 5. So it is definitely a strategy that some of these trios might be looking towards.
Yeah, in my eyes, that trio, Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts, they claimed 3 things that game. Demon's Dojo, now that's open. Shogun X's Rift Island, now that's open. High Ground, now that's open because of this format. So I'm excited to see what happens in game number 2.
Ooh, well, it is time. Game number 2 is ready. So find your seats on the battle bus. Casters, take us through it.
Monster, things are heating up very, very quickly. I think at a more rapid pace than what we saw groups 1 and groups 2. I think having the opportunity to watch those 2 groups and realizing how Storm Surge is playing really makes all the difference.
Yeah, that game was a huge surprise. I didn't expect so many teams to be at the Flooded Frog still after, you know, the zone kind of went that way. But I guess it makes sense, right? With how many teams are contesting that northern area, zone pulling that way, they knew they had the surge. Things just played out a little differently, right? So with game number 2 here, let's see how it goes.
From here on out, it's either win a game or just stay inside of that top 5. At least there's a goal for you to meet every single one of these games. And you kind of saw 2 different group stages. In group 1, it was a lot of the teams outside of the top 5 winning those games, getting the major 1 final spots. In group 2, it was teams inside of the top 5 getting those wins, which would lower the point threshold. Only time will tell how this one will go.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the way things set off, you take out one of the most dominant teams right there, right? This is a blessing for the lobby. Kanata, you know, getting out of this this lobby here just works for everyone. And let's talk about it. Drops start to open up, right? So there is flexibility available now. I'm really curious, though, of whether Somerset and, you know, their team are going to be able to react pretty quickly. But here it is. We kind of talked a bit about what's going to happen here.
2 teams. Moving on over. Dejan, Moxie, Penta, Tragic, M-Straw, and Fallen. And Kelly said it, there is a ton of space that opened up over towards Demon's Dojo, so that's going to allow a team like this to try to disengage elsewhere. There's the surrounding area, and then everything above Demon's Dojo as well. So I don't think this was a wrong play for them to make, but Penta, Day, and Moxie, if they act quickly, they can get some early damage and potential knocks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they will surely have the advantage when it comes down to loot, but take a look at this fight here. It's up to Carrot right now. Seems to be the last warrior standing at the watch right now, but teams are on the hunt here. G's going to be on top of them, and they fall pretty quickly. Down goes the trio there. Carrot tried his best, but unfortunately, they couldn't best the drop here. And this is going to be good for G's, Gary, and Doxy, who obviously had things kind of drag out for them last game, so they shouldn't be third party this time, or at least be well prepared for the teams that are going to rotate in.
Yeah, just a lot more time for them to kind of loot up. And like you said, the very worst, be a little bit more aware of all the surrounding teams. Night shifts Forest. This is where Pollo, Acorn, and Aegis land. And I say night shifts Forest, but you see how much respect they have. Just like Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts on the other side of the map, they not only get the actual POI, but they get so much of the surrounding space around it as well. It's going to allow for Pollo to push up, get an eye on Bird, see what teams are there, see what's going on, and really assess the situation perfectly for the team.
Hold up, though. We got to jump to the Magic Mosses, where fights are taking place right now.
Oh.
Lot going on here.
It's not every day you see the wind sprite being used, kind of granting a little bit of elevation, but it is going to come down with one player knocked. They're trying to rush this revive, keep him alive with the splashes, but pressure's coming from underneath. Not wanting to let it be an easy revive, but it is going to be a 2v2. One team having a big health advantage, though.
Bobby's already finished. They still have their down teammate. They're going to look to back up here as the other team starts to rotate in. Shots flying. Things are settling now. I like the full call here to just heal up, as Mist is trying to play defensive ball right now. Not sure if that's the right call here. Nope, Status comes through and runs him down. The Reds is going to have to try to get this pickup, but no, instead, the full-on disengage here. He's just going to go ahead and opt out of the fight, but look at this. He's rotating right into a fresh trio off to his side. They don't see him just yet.
It's almost going to be like a 50-50 here. He's either going to get tore up by that other trio, or that other trio is going to get distracted by Prom, Status, and Mafia, allowing him to disengage. And it does look like Prom's going to just kind of move on back. He spotted out that trio, but the trio spotted him as well. It's all about if they're going to be chasing the solo.
This is
It does
crazy.
look like they're just going to end up fighting trio versus trio. That was almost best case scenario. And I think there's an additional team towards the north
is.
that's slowly but surely moving in to get Surge.
That's what looks so wild about it, is like you see all this natural cover, all these trees. They have no idea how much threat is really in this area. It's not just a solo on the run. No, there are lurkers nearby. And they're looking to collapse in and see what kind of damage they can take from this fight potentially here. Dragon's going to be one of the first to be a casualty of this exchange here. It's almost looking like it's all duos left alive.
Yeah, this is a team right here, even without Dragon. They like to take situation just a little bit aggressive, box to box. That's how they typically get their Surge. But when things don't go right, it's not necessarily the best for them. They're going to have to recollect. But status Mafia Prom. Once were the aggressors. They turned out to disengage, but once again, finding an open opportunity, the upper hand. They continue to push forward. That's Rojo on the other side, but he's getting pushed into the whole duo, trying to cut back, but it's just not going to be enough. Full 3-on-1 is going to be intact, but hopefully that solo, the last player alive, Fishy, is going to be able to do just that. Stay alive. He has about 5 minutes on those reboot cards. He has to be able to use that time wisely.
Yeah, it's just lurking right now. Trying to catch a little bit of info through the edit here. There's no shot he pulls the trigger just yet. He's really going to have to wait this one out for a moment. Okay, he's going a bit early, but seems like it was worth it. Hasn't been spotted out yet. Shots in the north. Might just distract this team.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Even if he ends up getting like the one pump damage on one player, they at least know he's there. So I like the idea to sneak around, try to get the reboots, especially since some of that team is underneath Magic Mosses, so they're not going to have the full trio to be able to spot him out and get that damage. One player is going to go ahead and use the porta potty to try to escape, but it's just a little bit too late to follow that one up.
Well played for him, at least being able to get out of there with the reboot cards. Look at this, Acorn, Aegis, and Pollo taking action into their own hands. So, you know, clearly game one was lacking, right, in damage in the early game. If this was a different type of setting, like if this was a finals lobby, right, with the best of the best, that'd be a terrible spot to be in. But, you know, given that this is just group stages, they were able to kind of claw their way out of that one. Nearly picking up a victory royale. 13 eliminations is spectacular. Game one.
Still coming in second, down on Surge. Just great opportunities. And you can see another in-progress fight, using the Typhoon Blade to break through the builds, cause chaos, cause confusion, not knowing where to position yourself. And he has his teammates there just walking down his opponent as well. So he really stood no chance at all. Brando actually played that one picture perfect with his duo right behind him, making sure that he didn't take too much damage. And even if he did, they could do a bait and switch on out.
Noxy, Aura, Curly right now on the move. Trying to start edging their way in. It's a very sweet spot to be in here. Fully loaded. It seems like the drop playing very nice to them this game right here. They are the, I would say, the most Eastern team, if you want to call it that. So see how things are going to end up working for them right now. Meanwhile, as we get kind of a little bit more north towards the Seaport City, we have D-Gen, Sandman, and Havoc right here in a bit of a standoff. We saw that this does seem to be a spot where a lot of teams have kind of naturally rotated towards, but this is a contested drop, right? You have Shakjuk and Velify who have been playing this area as well, so.
It's almost like not only that, but we talked about the different mountain ranges. You still got Brutal Boxcars just north, the Shattered Span Bridge, where a lot of teams like to position up against, especially if the zone pulls over in the Shattered Span favor. So it's all about picking and choosing your position wisely as each zone does pull forward. And so far, very early on in this game, I know it's only zone 2, but we do got a rather central zone, but it is pulling towards the south, a little bit towards the east as well. So if you're trying to predict the zone, you can best believe you're going to rotate in that direction. Was that Blue, Rapid, and Sin just trying to chase down this solo of Juke. His teammates nowhere in the mini-map, and just adding by the fact that Blue does have an elimination, you got to imagine that's a solo just running away, trying to survive to get as many points as possible and possibly his teammates back.
This is a very interesting strategy from you know, Sin and Blue here, the way they've played this game out, they kind of stick to the coast and rotate wide through the storm. That is very interesting because most teams would typically get out, right? So if you're not contested at your drop, you'd think they go center map first, maybe towards the Warriors watch, where obviously there's teams fighting, but doesn't play the outskirts. I'm not sure I like that strategy very much, but we'll let the standings do the talking on that one. Seaport City, NPen, Taki, and Ishu still sticking around here.
He's literally like on the 3rd, 4th, or 5th floor fishing out of the building. That's some safe fishing right there from Taki. And it's one of those things, so you can be on top of the Shattered Span Bridge, highest elevation, and still fish down. And that's why you see the importance of carrying those fishing rods, because as long as you have a little bit of water near you, that gives you the opportunity to get those floppers, get those shield fish. And even if you're not lucky, the small fry definitely goes a long way as well.
Time to get to this new storm zone now. Oliver OG, Skater on the move, but might be caught out of position as Sharkman, Elsa start to edge their way towards this mountain here. This could be a fight breaking out here shortly if they're not spotted. Surely now, Elsa and team have the high ground. They can see what's happening here. You can see the fresh box.
Hey, they picked up some key eliminations throughout that last game. Especially Oliver OG late in the game, picking up key solo clutch points. And sometimes that really makes all the difference. It keeps you in contention of the top 5. Continues to have that confidence held high. There's DC Osmer, Noah, Chaos Gaming rotating up from Hopeful Heights. Just trying to get a good spot in zone. They're hedging their bets here that it is going to rotate closer to Seaport City. So they're trying to be one of the first teams here before it gets a little bit congested. Just got to be careful, though, because more and more teams, as the zone continues to pull in this favor, will start to stack that side of the zone.
We got some action unfolding right now. In the middle of this fight, it's seems to have been dragged on for quite some time. All parties hurt here due to the fact they're sitting in the storm right now. This is still at the Flooded Frogs, mind you. Boone, Bobby, and Enough. Bobby was taken out earlier, so this is after picking up the teammate, after resituating themselves. They still find a squad left behind. Shipsky's going to be the first to fall here in this battle. They send Furtis off running. He takes the transport out the side there. But the Oni mask can only take you so far.
Especially when you're just going deeper and deeper into zone. You might have found bandages, but just no time to be able to use them. Even if enough goes down here, yeah, they're still going to get the elimination onto Furtis. And that Siphon's definitely going to pay dividends because it's allowing him to save the med kit for a later time, especially with the zone pulling towards the south. They're definitely going to need that. And that damage, you spoke about him getting rebooted, that damage is going to help so much in terms of being able to focus on your rotation.
Meanwhile, Quanti, Baila, Edgy getting what they can together from their resources. Seems like they might have been looking for some exchanges with the teams nearby to pick up some damage here. That's why they're fishing it out right now. I'm Edgy. I don't know if I actually take the 2 minis or more shieldfish, to be honest.
I think it's just one of those situations. It all depends on how fast they can fish the shieldfish. Because it's only like a 50-50 chance that you get it out, especially depending on the inventories. But you talked about it with one team out of the lobby of Rapid Boats and Kanata. It opens up a lot of space here, especially on the Shogun's Arena up top, where the medallion proved to be very, very useful in the right hands of Bolt. But Sandman taking a little bit too much damage, scrambling around, trying to stay alive. Teammates don't seem to be anywhere in sight, so he's going to have to do this one by himself until DGen finds the time to finally reunite. And this is where it's just a big and risky situation here on top of the island when multiple teams begin to contest it.
This is very interesting, right? All of these squads here got to see what happened when Bolt had the medallion in his hand, how powerful it could be. And now it just seems like a little bit more desperation coming into play here for game 2 on this island. It kind of set itself up right south of the pump power. It kind of makes sense. There's so many teams up here that already play contested drops, so it doesn't surprise me. We have a lot of more aggressive teams up top. Slate Salt and Champ, though, getting all their builds broken. The boss is still up, though. No one's really gotten to finish it, but they also don't want the attention unnecessarily right now.
You even have a third team up there. M-Straw falling in their trio on the other side of Shogun's Arena on top of the islands. Possibly trying to sneak some damage away on this team doing the boss and any team down below. Especially with the zone continuing to move towards the south. All those teams that are rotating in the north, the Magic Mosses, the Flooded Frogs, the Lost Lakes, they will have to go through them or at least risk their position in order to find themselves any safety inside of the zone.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think you stay up there if you're not going to just quickly take the boss down? I mean, it just seems a little counterintuitive right now. There's a team literally fighting on that island right now, and then two others kind of sitting by idly. So I am very curious as to how this is all going to end up working out.
I'm curious to see the boss. You can see it kind of in the mini-map, the medallion going from each side of the island, back and forth, back and forth. Opportunity to try to steal it away, even if another team did start it. But not everybody has that luxury, the safety of the arena. Some have a far pull to go, and they're trying to make that rotation quick. Timing is absolutely important. In terms of your rotations, you rotate a little bit too late, you become stuck at the edge of zone, focus. You rotate too early, the same thing. You become focused by teams that are already in the zone and others that have to make their way in as well.
Get a nice little update here with Bow Shot, Decky, Fishy, and Flow. Shattered Span seems to be the pull here. A lot of water at play this weekend here. Saw a ton of it yesterday. I believe roughly 4 of those end games out of the 5 games we watched yesterday had some kind of significant water zone in play.
I thought I saw DGen get it down as one of those teams that was on top of the Shogun's Arena onto Fallen. That was the third team that was up there as well. When you have to rotate off of the Shogun's Arena and you don't have a mask, that's going to be one of the harder rotations you're going to make. You're just susceptible to so much damage because you kind of glide down. But Sharkman, Rao, Elsa, even with all this fishing, left their position stagnant, sacrificing Storm Surge. Now they fall themselves below and falling fast. 114, but they spot Acorn, Poyo, and Agers. Some shots are going to land, but still 40 below. They know their work is not done just yet, and that's why they're trying to take these additional angles.
This is a good team right here. Elsa, Sharkman, and Rao, we've seen a lot of success out of them, but this fight right now, this loadout, doesn't seem like they have enough firepower likely to take on Poyo, Acorn, and Agers. Acorn and Agers to position themselves inside the Seaport City clearly shows us that they are having a harder time than usual finding the damage or feeling comfortable about the damage. Because there's about 8 teams here. This is not the place you want to be if you are safe from the Storm Surge, and that's what happens. You let your guard down, the team jumps up on you. And all of a sudden now, Sharkman catches Poyo there by surprise, and the finish comes through. These are back and forth exchanges here, both sides facing casualties. Acorn clutching up for his side.
Yeah, unfortunately, Elsa and Rao found one down below. Sharkman getting a little bit too aggressive, overzealous up above, at least trying to solidify the elimination, basically sacrificing himself for the 3 points. Against Agers and Acorn, that's a team that you do kind of want to tear apart, but Seaport City seems to be in the center of this next zone. So even though they have their backs up against the zone itself, it will open up, grant them a lot of space and time to move around. But both teams seem to kind of benefit from that exchange. 500 above for one, 932 above for Acorn and Agers. Trying to fix the problem that they had in game 1 in Surge, but it just costed them a whole teammate.
I will say this, with the way the zone's going to play out and the limited land dynamic to their north, although they lost their teammate Poyo, I think it might play out well for them. They can still win this game. If they start playing for visuals now, they could really make it hard for other teams to get comfortable on the north side, and that's where most of the lobby's at right now.
Yeah, we have seen some, especially on the high ground, and when no teams can look up, the duos can kind of escape a lot of the dangers down below, but they just have to be able to make it to that stage. Did they get the reboot off?
They're doing
it. Is
it.
Poyo back? Can he land? Is he going to be able to survive? And I think he will, because he's going to drop down into that natural cover around the buildings. So forget playing with this one as a duo. Acorn, Agers, they made the call. They stuck to it. And you look at where they're at in the zone as well. I talked about it opening up. They opened up and immediately went for the reboot, granting them the extra time and space with no team having rotated yet.
Yeah, no, look at that north side, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. And there isn't a real team solidified up top other than the team that they just fought, right? Elsa, and even they don't really know that Acorn and them went for the pickup. So obviously it's all starting to come to a close now. And look at this, the zone's pulling south. Everyone has to move now. This is at least a boon for the lobby, if you think about it. It's not going to the water, so you can be grateful for that one, but this is going to be quite the rotate for everyone right now.
Oliver and his team, not all of them even have that mobility, so they're making that important call, rotate early, and so far that's going to grant them position in zone. Probably one of the first teams. Npen, Taki, Xiao, they're going to be able to rotate on out. Some of them having kinetic blades, others having the void mass, but they still know timing is of the essence, so they're quickly trying to be one of the first teams there. You can see Oliver on that mountaintop because they were quick to react. They get some of the best positioning inside of the zone for now.
Rising from the ashes here, Hers, Acorn, and Pollo are back in full effect, but I'm noticing there is a bit of a lack of material, given that they had to split some with Pollo after the pickup. They're all bouncing back here, getting nice and situated here. Notice they're not even opting for full bases. They're just playing deeper and deeper into the storm line here, possibly looking to find some resolve in the material counts that they can pick up on this outer edge.
Yeah, because they're one of the first teams there, they know they don't have to build around their back. Smiley, Max, Olaf. They got a key elimination moments ago in that replay. Brought them above the Storm Surge threshold, 262. Almost from here on out, Storm Surge is going to be affecting a lot of these teams, dictating if they get to play. You see eliminations and loot being split around. Making sure that each and every one of these players are as healthy as can be, as Acorn, Hers, Pollo starting to go on the offensive. You talked about, because of that reboot, the lack of resources. They're trying to go ahead and capitalize on it, but they pull zone yet again. One of the first teams to be able to position themselves on the front side.
This is actually working out very well for them, but hold that thought. Chaos Gaming's left by himself now. Can he actually save Noah plays here? There are teams looking to collapse in on this loot here, potentially. Chaos has to jump out now. And it is a mad scramble here. The edit comes out, finds Sleepsy with a huge tag there. But he's gonna have to rotate here soon. Noah's still down. Yeah, tough to, of course, make that call, but look, Noah's gonna go ahead and drop what he can here. So that's gonna at least put Chaos in a good spot to get his shields back up, but it's up to him now to clutch up as many points as possible here as we start inching our way into this endgame now. Of course, Acorn's team's the first one set up. They have high ground, and that's a crazy play for them to make. This high ground pull by themselves, essentially committing their material count to the height. We've seen the problems that this can cause if you do not find a refresh. So it's going to come down to pure on opportunity now, Jacob.
Yeah, they are desperately in need of an elimination here. You saw it. It was Acorn just having only metal. Agers as well. They see a full couple of trios down below, trying to rotate their way in. And this is where they're going to try to use it as the golden opportunity. Catch them off guard, making their way in zone. No shots connecting just yet, but a mad scramble in and out of these builds. They're just doing what they can. And even though they didn't get the opportunity they were looking for, they didn't take much damage either.
We got to give credit to Pollo's call right there. He saw the edit come out and called for his team to back off, and they came back immediately. They did not hesitate at all. Acorn, Pollo, and Agers, although are in a tough situation, are playing very sharp Fortnite right now. Alvaro G, Dash, and Skater looking pretty decent, but also in need of a big elimination. They just found one. Can't get the loot, though. Gets sniped by another trio there on the low ground. Meanwhile, Flo, Bo, and Decky Fishies are fishing for damage right now. No heals on this team either. Most of our teams are tuning in with are a bit desperate for wares right now.
When it comes to Storm Surge, only 2 players need to go down. It's going to turn off. Just a little bit more action, but Oliver, Dash, Skater are going to be able to break in, take down Desi, separate him from the rest of his trio. Bo is going to go down as well. Flo is going to be the only one left, but the Karma is switching around. They get pressured on the back, but it's them that is holding their position on that layer. The other team chooses to go below. They're trying to bypass them underneath. Will it work out? Who knows?
Meanwhile, Pollo goes into the storm, finds a little bit of material there to bring it back to the high ground. Meanwhile, Bucky, Savage, and Okus turn it up right now. 7 eliminations. from that tough game 1 into a strong game 2 now. This is where the points are really going to start to rack up here. Scuffy's, Fuse, and Crook looking for any opportunity to make something big as well. But everyone's beginning to gas out here. It's cost so much materials. This zone is pulled further and further away from everyone else. Acorn plays the front side of zone right now. Boyo looking to catch up to them. They have things solidified up top. No one has contested them just yet.
Immediately orb to the front side of the zone. You can see the damage right now coming out from Poyo. The pressure onto Quanti, really not wanting to give him a chance to come out of zone, but down below, Bucky trying to make a play. He goes down. Okus is feeling the pain as well. Craze is forced to try to back up, save the day, but the zone is there, and so is Champ. Quick down onto one. They're trying to get the eliminations. Siphon's going to be so fruitful. He gets the knock. He just needs to stay alive long enough for the Siphon to come into play.
Look at this. Boyo has a Siphon for himself. Speaking about it, healing him right back up to max HP now. All of a sudden, they are very much in this game here. Lobby's starting to cut down, and they should be able to clean up house here. Everyone down below is facing troubles from the Storm or the other teams, and their HP is looking like it is getting cut away very fast.
From a reboot to the driver's seat right now, Poyo is making sure that they didn't put that opportunity in vain. Okus down below, still scrambling in and out of the zone. Has a flopper left, but no time to use it. That's Craze just leading the path, trying to give him some extra cover on the other side, but they're getting smushed to the low ground. Craze with a medallion, makes a play on the crook on the other side, bringing it down to a 3v2, but he gets dropped as well. Okus by itself, and he doesn't stand a chance. Agers, Acorn, and Poyo pull off a big win.
Very nicely done there. Game 2 wrapped and put on just exceptional fashion, and you know what? They did it. They did it in the end, and it was not easy at all. From a pickup at the Seaport City and then to keep pulling zone. Sometimes you just need a little bit of luck on your side, but I can't believe they made the call to go for high ground right there. That was a risky move, and it ended up paying out huge for them. Congratulations to them. Take a look at it from their perspective. We knew at this moment when Poyo went down to pick up those materials and then come back up and he found the Siphon, they had the game on lock right there. You saw the information being given out after every knock there. That's a huge benefit to have when you got that extra medallion to give you that information right there. And he just made it look easy from that point onwards.
Yeah, whoever made that call to go for the reboot onto Poyo deserves the credit for that win. Agers, Acorn, and Poyo qualified for the Major 1 finals, but 2 matches are down. Analysts, what do you think of the game so far?
I mean, guys, I don't want to say I wrote it in the script and then I called it, but
You did it.
Yeah, no, it was. I told you shouldn't expose it. Now everything. Well, now you have to tell us who's going to win the next game.
I can't tell you. That's too far. We can't. That
Okay.
just breaks the immersion. That breaks. That's just yeah. Anyway, Poyo, Acorn, Agers, Victory Royale. You know, friends, it was looking a little dicey. Okay, as our casters pointed out from the beginning of the game. But hey, when in doubt, reboot Poyo. Go on to win a game.
Yeah, and it was a lot of diciness throughout the entirety of that game, even once Poyo was brought back up, taking high ground with so little mats. And it's really interesting to see the differences between this win and Game 1 win, where Game 1, Kanata's trio was holding height with like 4 wide structure. And this one, you can see it's wood builds, it's a single structure. They could have easily been chopped, but somehow they were able to pull it out. Smart plays from the trio on getting those minor refreshes. And even winning by zone 11, if I'm not mistaken. It was kind of an interesting game, Vivid.
Yeah, definitely a fast one for sure. But I mean, I cannot believe they did it again. You know, I said it after game number 1. I mean, second place for them. How in the heck did they do that? They were shambles the entire game. Come to game number 2. How the heck did they do this? They were shambles, right? Poyo got knocked every single time we tuned into them. After Poyo got knocked and rebooted, they didn't have more than like 20 builds on a single person ever on the high ground, but it's like nobody was paying attention, whether that be because of the, you know, everybody's kind of afraid to kind of look up at a height and get the pressure received from the trio that's up there. You know, the type of lobby that we're playing in group number 3 here, nobody's really interested in it. But yeah, that single wide structure right there, a lot of it being woods, like Zeke pointed out. Incredible stuff to kind of pull that out.
So wild. But look, at the end of the day, they're going through to the Major 1 finals, right? They've got their seat on the bus, and now They just have to keep that prep going and see what they can do in the Major 1 finals. For now, though, we have to go to a short break. When we return, Game 3, and of course, more things to break down. So stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the FNCS. Game number 2 wrapped up by Pollo, Acorn, and Agers. So we got a second place in game number 1. Come back for game number 2, get themselves the victory royale. We kind of talked about it right before going to break, though, in a very shambles situation. But look, they still got that victory royale.
Yeah, I think honestly that might actually speak a bit more highly of them, that even when everything else isn't going their way, they're still able to pull out the win there. So big props to them. I felt like maybe I was downplaying their win a little bit, so I'd like to rescind that statement. They are an absolutely incredible trio to make that recovery. But Vivid, what I'm curious about is high ground is so weird since trios has kind of been a thing, and we've seen it last chapter where so many people were afraid of high ground. They didn't even look to it because of Peterbah and Pollo, and now they're not even in this group. So, or I guess Peterbah's not in this group. So why is high ground being just kind of ignored?
It could just be, people are timid of it, right? They know that the amount of pressure that can come out in a trios game when you have 3 players that can potentially beam you, destroy some of your structures. So sometimes it can be very, very risky. But honestly, Acorn, Pollo, Agers, they were just taking advantage of the fact that most of the lobby was on the back side of the zone, right? Nobody was really claiming that front side. Nobody was really established. So they were able to apply pressure to just one side of the zone, and it was pretty much the entirety of the lobby. It's honestly just how that game right there played out. And we also have to remember, since we're kind of doing this group stage right now, we're not necessarily getting height teams in every single one of these groups, right? So maybe some of the teams that kind of plan to play height, they're just no more left in this group.
Interesting. I wonder if that becomes then the great dash for height. We'll see what happens in game 3 and 4 and 5, of course, but we wanted to highlight a few trios for you. We want to start in 7th place. Oliver, OG, Dash, and Skater. They've actually been getting more consistent after the first 2 games, right? Game 1, 10th place, 7 elims, but now we have a 7th place with 4 elims, so we're really targeting this consistency factor right now.
Yeah, and that's, you know, if you can't get the win, then you might as well go for that. They've already proven themselves to be low mid-ground warriors, being able to grab a bunch of eliminations and make it into the end game every single time. They only just need 3 more games of this performance, and they'll pretty much solidify themselves into that top 5 consistency.
It was kind of funny this game, right? They used that pre-edit strategy that kind of was their demise in game number 1 against opponents in that game right there. But, you know, still going out a little bit early. I would like to see the entire trio kind of stay alive, establish a position throughout some of those moving zones so that way they can get and break into that top 5.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Another trio to toss your way. Bucky, of course, paired up with Okus and Craze. I can just hear, like, you know, Bucky in my, like, oh my God! 'Cause that you know, we start game 1, 19th place and nothing. Game 2, though, a 2nd with 12. They have got to be popping off.
Yeah, I mean, this trio here, out of all the trios that we have competing in Group 3, are one of the only ones that's actually played all Div Cups together. They are also one of the only teams that has grabbed a Victory Royale, although we haven't really seen the perfect situation for them exactly. I do think that this trio is now looking to probably take that high ground in Game 3 and go for the win. I mean, at one point, Craze had 2 mythic weapons. I don't understand how that happens, as well as a legendary. That is absolutely crazy. If he can get that into his hands once again, then this is going to be a sure win for them.
Yeah, I mean, when they were still a trio up, I was actually looking towards that team to win that game. We knew how shambles high ground was. That, you know, like we already mentioned, they had less than like 10 builds each. But yeah, unfortunately, Bucky ended up going down, like I mentioned before. All the lobby being on the backside of the zone right there with Craze, Okus, and Bucky looking for eliminations. It just became too hard to keep them all up. But still, nonetheless, a very good game from them.
I love the breakdown, guys. I also wanted to highlight 3rd place there, Silic. Jargana, so sorry if I pronounce names wrong, and King on Expo as well, currently sitting at 120 points. So in just 2 games, they're looking really, really good. As we've seen in kind of previous point thresholds, you want around that like 190 point threshold to feel kind of comfortable, but you still want to make sure you solidify that top 5 for consistency is concerned. What are we hoping to see now that we've kind of had these 2 Titan trios qualify? I feel like it's anyone's game right now.
Yeah, I think it is. I think a lot of it can come down to luck, like we heard some of the casters say, where that zone pulls is really important, how these players are going to be able to adapt. We have seen teams win by changing drop spots in the group stages, so there's a lot of opportunities here, but they only have 3 more games to figure that out. So right now, it's going back to the drawing board, talking to the coaches if they have them, and seeing what they can do.
Yeah, job spots are going to be opening up now. I know we had an amazing kind of situation yesterday where there was like 10 teams towards a drop spot that had just opened up. So maybe we'll see some early game action out of that. But yeah, I want to see some more fights for High Ground. So far in our first 2 games, it's kind of been an easy ride up there. Let's switch things up and make it a little bit more chaotic.
That's interesting. In EU, you know, we saw a lot of that yesterday, right? Players fighting for that height, not just letting it go. So maybe now's our time, everybody. Just look up, and if you see the single built wood structures, they're probably shambles. Probably go ahead and fight them, but we'll have to see how things go. We're now entering game number 3, basically the halfway point, so pressure is on. Casters, where do you?
I'm interested now to see who's going to take the night shift forest, right? With the teams on that side entering or exiting, will Somerset or someone mix up the drop, right? There's a lot of squads right now that have yet to really find their footing so far. And Jacob, with the games dwindling down, it's now or never to make a shift.
Yeah, we've already seen after that first game 2 teams move over towards Demon's Dojo because of the amount of space that was commanded. Same thing at Night Shift's Forest. It's going to be a big question, but with the game ready, it's going to be answered.
All right, game 3 is on the line here. Who can take the win and send themselves to finals? Who will find the placement points and the elimination points they need to solidify themselves up the standings here? It's a best case scenario right now for the big name trios, let's call them that, to go ahead and already pull those victory royales. So we can expect everyone else to have a much more competitive tournament as far as the points are concerned on the standings. I see a lot of teams looking to migrate possibly towards the night shift and Warriors Watch right now. We'll be keeping eyes on that. Meanwhile, Batman Vex sync our team on screen here, but we're jumping straight to the Warriors Watch with Somerset and Carrot here. Now, what happened last time is they landed and just got bested on the drop in game 2. Game 1 was a little bit more competitive as they managed to stand off here, but look at this. Somerset's got the perfect drop for the door there, but shies away from it instead of going into it. Gary's going to be the first to fall there, so nicely done for Somerset's trio. Someone whom Sieges managed to find his elimination there and the full finish. They have the advantage here. Can't drop the ball now. They need to get Somerset a weapon, though. No luck just yet. Shots come down low, though. Jeez. Manages to find a tag onto Carrot. He doesn't stay for the finish, though. They don't find any chest either. This is honestly, a short draw for both teams right now.
Like a bare bones brawl. Whatever you get off of spawn, that's what you got. But they quickly go ahead, converge, get the double res onto Carrot. An interesting decision here, though, that they kind of give him just a little bit more space. They are separated as Doxy's trying to make a play, catching one out by himself. He does have the Oni. 4 shots left, though, Monster. He has to pick and choose his battles wisely here.
I genuinely respect the fact that he was just finding his damage, backing off, playing for new angles, not trying to be predictable right now. The splashes come through. This is going to give them the confidence to take another peek. Sieges, though, still hasn't found any shields just yet. But keep in mind, it is a 3v2. So long as they can keep their heads on their shoulders, they should be able to win this. Sieges and Carrot right now have the team right above them. Looking for some info, nothing found just yet. Somerset's playing the wider angle here. Looks like Carrot's looking to dive on into it. Sieges has to come up and support, but no, a bad edit throws him off here. And this is the pressure starting to sink in right now.
Yeah, this is just one of those things where it is taking just a rather long time. They got to be careful because in game 1, we saw how long it actually took, and then a third team rotating over, and you already see that team in the mini-map, the potential for them to continue to move in this direction. Probably looking at the feed, the elimination feed, seeing who's going down, who's getting eliminated, and kind of knowing that 2 trios land here. It's not enough names popping up, but Somerset's just trying to fight back. Back and forth they go. Carrot taking another angle, but they're just losing shield after shield, shot after shot. Not really gaining the upper hand just yet, but they turn the corner. Carrot's going to be the one leading the charge. He gets knocked down. Jez is there just trying to reposition yet again. Still a 3v1, but Jez finally goes down, leaving Doxy by himself.
I do think it's just nerves kicking in right here. Couple small mistakes happening, but as they're taking this fight, the other team's already rotated in. They have to move super quickly right now. I wonder, did they hear someone? Sieges is not sure. He at least gets a tag off, and the comms have been made.
I feel like I only see 2 of them as of now, so that might not even be a full trio. So still opportunity to fight back, but the third one finally comes into the mix. Not even a chance to loot up after that fight. It was so prolonged. I feel like Somerset and Carrot have no choice but to disengage, and they might not even be able to disengage as a team. They might have to go 2 separate directions.
Yeah, look at this. Somerset trying not to make a sound. She's already lost a teammate. I would assume right now the play is maybe get the card and then get out. But you can definitely tell that this trio is feeling the nerves of the group stage. Couple small little mistakes there, whether it was an edit miss or Somerset even bandaged for 1 HP, right? Just pressure coming in. You know you get tagged. It's like going into instinctuals. Either way, this is all going to be gather the experience. Serum, Miss, and Threads just don't give them a chance to get situated, and they find themselves 3 eliminations now. And I mean, the writing was on the wall, right? When you have a team that hurt, just trying to kind of recoup themselves off of being contested. You know, that was a fast rotate too, so respects to them.
Yeah, it only started up at 2. That was the first shot. Sieges just got caught off guard. Kind of gave up the 3v2. Carrot and Somerset just trying to scramble around, stay alive. Carrot doesn't even get the void off before he goes down. And by them, Somerset was just kind of stuck. They were already at Warriors Watch. They would have heard her try to void or run away, so she just kind of plant her position. Unfortunately, they find the elimination.
Viola, Edgy, Quanti right now. The Mass Meadows, they're home. uncontested. Big names now starting to get cut out of the lobby. This is all but their games now to possibly win here. One of the few teams that have extensive experience that are left here. Beza, Vindic, and Bolt seem to have moved into the night shift force. We're curious what teams are going to have the heart to go ahead and take this drop here. Doesn't seem like many decided to come forward, so they're just sweeping on in.
Yeah. I just got to think, you know, some of these teams and players are probably thinking so many teams are going to have that same plan. They choose not to. That ends up being uncontested, something that we did see on day one. But over here towards the north, with the zone pulling in towards the south, we got a 3v3 breaking out. A lot of heals onto Draco. He's going to be able to outlast a lot of these teams as long as he kind of calculates it wisely along with the rest of his trio. They are putting pressure down below, allowing for Draco to buy his time here and heal up.
A lot of pressure coming in from Jado's angle. Oh, but no. Aiden's now pushing in on the other side here. Not looking too hot. Oracle's got him boxed up. In he goes, but he gets hit with a monstrous shot there. What an exchange there. It was looking good until it wasn't. Draco now has the high ground, swings around here. Down goes Smitty. Needs the finish for the siphon. There it is. That's going to keep him up.
He's going to find a couple minis on top of that. Aiden's going to be left by himself in this situation. They're going to take some time here. Heal up as much as possible. They don't want to make it too risky of a situation, knowing they basically have this fight in the bag. And after they finish this one, because of the zone pulling so far to the south, they have ample opportunity to try to get his teammate back up. Aiden's doing a long time, slipping through a lot of these builds, costing them a lot of resources that they're eventually going to have to use because they're so far in zone.
Yeah, in time as well. So time to get the cards, get on out, play for those pickups. Draco and team end up winning that one. Nicely done for them. Meanwhile, Vex going toe-to-toe right now with Noxie and Curly here. Aura already taken down. Curly calling for the potential disengage into the storm line. Get this little bit of high ground here.
Be a decent opportunity to try to get Virgo back into the game. You know that team down below isn't necessarily going to go on the chase. They might not even know exactly where they orbed off to, is what it seems like right here, but it does look like... Yeah, Noxie and his teammate are going to be able to move back towards the Kappa factory where they land. They know it's uncontested, so they're going to be able to get that free reboot back. They just got to go ahead and hastily make their way towards zone, because as soon as it continues to pull further and further away, it's going to be harder and harder for them to accumulate that surge.
Talk about surge tags. Crook getting beamed. They're a little bit of a bad peak right there. Hollow Twister is definitely what you want to have in hand. But the zone's going to start forcing these teams out. Scuffy's going to have to get a move on here. It's Status's trio that they were looking off at. Get to get another update here with Olaf, Max, and Smiley right now. Again, nothing here. Very quiet. Down towards the meadows.
So this team right here is third on the overall leaderboard, but you kind of look at their damage dealt right now, 5,282. There's only one team that was in this lobby that had more damage. That was Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. And now that they're gone, this team right here is the damage dealer leader. And you can kind of see how they're getting it done. They're spreading out. They're covering more ground. They're making sure that when Storm Surge activates, they haven't taken a single hit of Storm Surge so far.
Yeah, respectfully, they've made end games. They have 5th and 9th place under their belt with a multitude of eliminations. So they're playing very, very sharply right now. Oliver OG's got the eyes on the high ground here, but you have to be careful in the meta like this. You get called out being a solo, 3 Onimas can be sent straight to your doorstep at any time. He's a little close for my liking. I think he understands that. Good toss off to the side. Just in case things get a little sketchy here.
Yeah, it's a scary situation there. It's kind of that risk reward scenario that we kind of talk about throughout the course of the game. But on the opposite side, that was no plays. Chaos Gaming, DC Awesomer, a quick rotation from them, realizing where their zone is at. They land at Hopeful. They looted up in no time at all to make sure they solidified one of these mountains towards Foxy Floodgate. And as soon as the zone continues to move over here, that position will get increasingly more impressive for them.
Lucky Ocus and Craze. It's a community looking to see what they can do. Finally get to see how their early game's been looking. I like the setup right here. They have a lot of ground covered. One mountain off to the north side, the south one here on lock. Max material right now. Getting tags on different teams. This is an ideal situation, and then Ocus is just farming up the mats that he needs. And there's that fishing you talked about. Teams fishing out of the comfort of their 1x1s up top.
It always makes me laugh seeing it from a surge base or any of these high positions.
This.
How much line do you have? This is basically where Npen, Ishao, and Taki actually do land, so they haven't had to rotate far. And then you add in the fact that the fishing rods, so they almost have unlimited heals. It's a 50-50% chance for the shield fish. I talked about it enough, but it's almost essentially infinite heals. You can see they already have some scattered around on the floor. So it's going to be Npen and Taki taking the role of getting surged, while Ishao is just making sure that they have the resources necessary. So whatever damage they do take in terms of trading, they can easily heal right back up.
Noticing Ishao only had 60 bullets in the AR there, so a lot of time spent fishing, not much, you know, looting, the scattered loot that's kind of sprinkled around the meadows. But DC, Awesomer, Chaos, and Noah continue this kind of standoff against Oliver and team, now looking possibly towards Bucky's team. So they kind of caught all in between these trios here. In just a minute's time, we're really going to see things shake up. If the zone comes this way, though, I'll be more impressed with all these mountains at play. So anything can happen at that point. But for now, the islands end up coming up.
Who's going to go for it is the question. We've seen a few teams go for it throughout the day. Some of those not even here anymore. They've already booked their ticket to the Major 1 finals, kind of opening up and kind of relieving a lot of the pressure. Especially since it was a team that was so aggressive in terms of the damage, one of them. Still, with opportunities all around, they have the edge of zone on their back, but they're just trying to farm up as much as possible. They have the orbs to make a little bit of an easier rotation, especially since there's not too many teams stacked around where they're currently located.
Get the high ground here from DJ, Sandman, and Havoc. All eyes on the lobby. Zones already inching their way further and further south now. And this is a very interesting storm, the way it's going to end up playing out right now. For the first time, the southern teams are going to be, I would say, the southwest teams, right? Don't have to move. All the north teams are going to have to see what they can do. Play this lobby out. This is game 3. Very limited chances coming on from here onwards to go ahead and qualify your way through to the finals. We see the points you want to be at around at this point in the tournament is about 100 or so to feel comfortable. Teams like Quantabile and Edgy have been coming up short. A lot of points to make up if they want to really solidify themselves up in the consistency.
They got a job of quickly, not just eliminating the boss, but quickly eliminating the boss on top of the island. Giving Engie the Wanderer's medallion, granting him the infinite sprint and the invisibility as well. And it's not too far off from where they land at Mass Meadows. A couple of those islands are right above Mass Meadows as well. So as long as they have their surge down packed, or at least starting to accumulate that, I think they're going to have a phenomenal game here. Potential qualifiers.
Got some action happening right now. Prominent status still alive right here. Brando's going to be the first one to go in and get the trade off. And they get the pickup. So both sides looking to fully reset in here. Now there's shots happening in the distance. So it does seem like they've already attracted the attention of lobby. But Prom Mafia and Status have the advantage. They're on the other side of the wall here. So this is perfect for them to go ahead and initiate this fight.
Got to be very, very careful. There's too many third parties. The left of Foxy, there's one team, 2 more on the right. Even with the knock there, nothing's going to be safe. It's actually Wiley who does go down. They make sure to get max damage off of that pump. Something that you don't necessarily see a ton of teams doing because they're so quick to just get the elimination, get the loot, and move on. But when you can realize the difference that Storm Surge has played in some of these lobbies and how close it's been from just activating on a team versus being 10 above, that could be the difference maker.
You saw both of them made a mistake with that first Void Onimax toss. They tried to throw it through the window, but ended up ricocheting off the wall instead. So little maneuvers like that. I mean, that's the reason he's going to get sent back to the lobby, so he's going to be eating himself up for that one. Meanwhile, NPen, Ishu, and Taki finally abandon the fort. They have plenty of heals for the road here. But it's time to get moving here.
I feel like for the sake of sanity for the lobby, please don't move to the west, the zone. There's so many mountain ranges, so many dips. Even Foxy Floodgate has that huge crater in the middle. The eastern side, though, pretty solid elevation, even all around, giving good opportunity for even the teams that might not have the resources up until this point. It does look like Status and Prom position themselves over towards Foxy, continuously trying to push in that team. Not wanting to give up the damage that they had early on. He's continuously hitting shot after shot, but just not really able to capitalize on them. But it's almost a fight for positioning. Now that he got a spot next to the water, he's going to continue fishing for more heals.
Yeah, and they seem to be pretty content with this right now. They need these heals. Just look at the situation at hand here. But Sleepsy and Brando not happy with allowing this to go unpunished, essentially, right here. Back up they go. They might still have some material here that's theirs, too, that they can possibly find an angle on. Both sides seem to be getting to fishing here.
That's almost a necessity. Like it's honestly surprising to see a fishing rod become a vital part of a lot of trios loadouts this season. The meta truly shifting and really favoring those who kind of think outside of the box and really make that risk. It is trios. You do got 5 extra item slots. We'll say 3 because 2 weapons, 1 mobility.
So it does look like things are going south towards Oliver OG's drop spot. It's going to be one huge mountain in play right now for this end game right now. Meanwhile, the highlights show us Bowflow and Desi jumping in and eating teams alive with the blade right there, making it look super easy.
I don't even know. I'm just trying to think, was he making sushi or was he like being a butcher in a deli right now? Because that's multiple times today alone we've seen that Typhoon Blade come into action and really make the difference. Not only securing the eliminations, but making sure that they stay alive because how fast and quick and aggressive they can get. You said the zone moving towards the south, those mountain ranges become now in play that I was talking about. And for those teams that weren't aware and didn't plan properly, this is going to become a roller coaster of emotions.
Bo still taking shots while on the move right there. Meanwhile, teams that have gotten to these mountain ranges early, Wake, Snakes, and Oreo. Actually, surprisingly, it's the team that seems to be most positioned. You have Expo a little bit higher off to the north there. But with all the shots going on right now, you got to think about it. Surge is warning players of their status in the game right now. Being 280 above is not the greatest spot to be in, but they do pull the zone favor here. It's going south, so think about what's at play right now. All of these other teams on that eastern edge, on this high ground, are thinking about how they have to maneuver their way through this mountain and or around it. It's going to cost a lot of Oni Mask, and definitely already noticed multiple teams rotating with the blades on foot.
Money Engine Byla again, not having to move far from the actual POI. One of the first teams. They don't take the highest elevation on the side of the mountain, just enough to get them to feel confident, but Noah plays sideline, kind of is forced to scramble around. 44 HP, shots coming from all directions, but he's overbuilding right now to give themselves space, a little bit of more comfort when it comes to these shots pouring in from many of these directions. Now they have to just heal up as much as possible. They do got a little bit of a rotation to make, but you can see everybody else in the mini-map probably feeling that same pain.
Crazy that they put that much material in just to stay alive right now, but ends up working out. It was worth it because they're still alive here. They got to start moving, though. This is what we talked about. Oni mass charges starting to get cut down now. When the zone moves like this, you have to start investing in the rotate here. Noah lands right below a team. They seem to have their eyes on them. More mats start to get used, but there's a team right there. It's Champ. Noah wins the exchange to keep him in the game here. That's going to be a lovely, lovely refresh. And look at the heals coming through off the Siphon now. Does he get rewarded here is the question. Was there heals on Champ there?
Got to give DC credit for just solidifying the actual elimination. Noah was under so much pressure. He wasn't able to heal. He wasn't able to turn around and fire that shot. That allowed him to get the Siphon, get the HP up, and kind of refill himself in this situation. But at the top of the mountain, King on Expo, Silic, and Hargu. The zone is going to pull off the mountain, but a team like this, because of their positioning, they have the luxury of being able to stagger as far and as long back as possible, use those void masks to remain on top of all these other teams that are going to have to rotate first.
Yeah, this is where experience has to start kicking in. Learning how to play this high ground is pivotal in these end games. With good players like this, want to go a little late, not too late, but most importantly, you want to keep pressure on the other teams. Don't allow them to actually look up and recognize that there's a chance for others to play for height. Byla, Edgy, and Quanti have just slowly and steadily worked their way into the end game right now. Still are above the threshold relatively comfortably.
You almost want to force some of these teams to rotate in front of you. You almost want to force them to build. That way you can kind of orb and box up on top of their builds and remain elevated away from that low ground, because just as easily as the zone moved up and off this mountain, we could cut back towards the west. We can cut back under the Shogun's arena. There's still a lot that these players need to start being very weary of. And that's what the IGL's job is for.
Plenty of elevation could be at play here. Look at the chop that we're going for right here. Very interesting play for them to go on and play for it, and it ends up working out. Noxie gets the actual full drop there. Now, nothing to worry about. More material gain. He starts going into overbuild mode just to keep his team alive. Metal cranking out here. Elevates himself up a bit. It's Noah, W Plays, who has the high ground right now, but Quanti, Edgy, and Byla have eyes on them as well. Noxie goes for high ground here too. What is going on right now as they just get bullied off the height? This is the confidence starting to take place here for Noxie, Curly, and Aura after getting that elimination.
Now, analysts were asking, they were calling for it. Where's the high ground? Where's the attempts to try to steal it away, especially with a lot of our high ground teams, the ones that are known for it, no longer in this lobby. That opens up the opportunity for a team just like that to take it, but more and more teams getting more and more confident to try to do just that. Noah, Chaos, DC just trying to go under the radar. You can see them orbing to the front side of zone, but you can see that they're also staying away from that ultimate low ground. The zone is moving up this mountain, so they don't want to waste all those materials going down just to have to go back up.
Big upsets now, though. Bucky's down once again in this endgame here. It's up to Okus and Kreese to go ahead and see if they can solidify themselves more points here. Remember, that game one was a complete dud. Game two puts them right inside the conversation, but now with game three, placement points on the line here, they have to try to do something big here. Okus takes a little bit of damage, and high ground completely secured by Noxie and team right now as things bounce to the west here. So elevation continues to trade. Meanwhile, Quantibal and Edgy, the veterans, looking again very comfortable right now. They played this relatively well.
It almost even looked like they were trying to go for a P-piece onto Quanti, the way they had to break the wall, and it just kind of turned that one around. Curly, Virgo, Noxie still on high ground. Oliver still trying to stay in the front side of the zone. Noah played DC, Osmer, and Chaos Gaming, the same thing, but there's so many teams above and below them. They got to watch out. Be very, very careful as we move up this elevation, the side of the mountain. It's not going to be easy for anybody, but it's for those who have the passion to make it happen.
Byla, Edgy, Quanti still moving on this mid-ground layer here. Teams are in front of them. They have to be careful now. Oh, that open wall right there could have been the end of this entire team as Smiley was looking. But Noah, W Plays, and his trio are there to continue to rack up points. Things are getting super interesting now. Is Noxie, Curly, and Aura starting to run out of gas up top, though? They've committed a lot of material here. It's bounced back and forth now. It's going even further here. Off to the front side of the zone they go. It's a short dash. Ronin here, still in the game, keeping things alive, keeping the dream up for Oliver and crew. Oliver, clutch game one. Ronin doing big things here in game number 3 now. Into the end game here. Still has to stay alive, though. Play some points. There's a team right behind the ladder. Oh, no, it's Noah. He finds another elimination there.
Only a full trios left in the game. Only a few. Noah plays Chaos. They're trying to slide down the mountain, kind of move under the radar. They have a flopper left as well if they try to stagger themselves back, but with the two trios up above, eventually they are going to clash. But right now it's Quanti, Bylon, Edgy taking most of the pressure from Noxy, Virgo, and Curly up above, and finally they're getting stuck outside of the zone. The heal off is not going to be any more because they're forced to use their splashes just to stay alive here.
Notice what they're doing. They were trying to see if they could play for high ground by sticking in the zone, but Noxy caught them out, and Quanti gets punished for the play there. Aura jumps down, secures the loot. This is a great spot for them to be in, but look, he wants a little bit more. Is he going to bite off more than he can chew? We'll find out here in just a couple moments. Just a few players left now. Actually, just one. It's Chaos Gaming, and back to the lobby he gets sent. Curly, Noxy, and Aura do it from the high ground through to the end there. What a game 3 for them.
Yeah, we were calling for it and asking who's going to take high ground, who's brave enough and who has the confidence, and this is the team that did it. And they took it away from Silic, King on Expo, and their trio. They waited for that perfect moment, not until the 9th zone. They not only solidified the high ground, but they got eliminations, and from that point forward, Monster, they could not be stopped.
And it was impressive for them to get the refresher at the key time that they needed, right around zone 8. Things started going in their favor. This is the perfect replay to pick up right there. That's exactly where it happened. And it was just uphill from there, quite literally. Walking their way into a 10 elimination victory royale. Noxy, Virgo, Curly end up doing it big here for match 3. Zeke, we got another team going to finals now.
Bro, we do, and that is crazy. You know what I like about this is that Noxy's trio were already in that top 5 in consistency, right? So now they move up, which means the rest of the lobby moves up and goes, okay, hold on, someone at the top already qualified. That means now everyone else has that extra opportunity to try and make it into that Major 1 finals. For this trio, I know they're feeling super, super good about this win.
I don't think it's too much of a surprise either to see this win. They had a great performance in the play-in. They got 4th overall, beating out some pretty big trios for the points. And then once we saw them already get 2nd place through consistency over the last 2 games. But game 3 there really did just showcase how smart they were playing, waiting for the right moment to take height. They get a refresh, they get some more mats, and then they just lob up these perfect TPs, jumping over. Who was it over there? I believe it was over Quanti, Edgy, and Byla, who were actually on, or no, I'm sorry, Noah's trio was actually on high ground, and they just perfectly execute this TP onto height, even going down, which was a little risky at one point to grab just a little bit more refreshes, but clean, easy win from this trio right here.
Jacob MDF talking about it the entire time, right? The zones, the way they were kind of dancing around this mountain right there when Silix's trio was on the high ground. They decided to do a little strategy, the single ramp down. They were like, you know, game 1, game 2, nobody's looking at a high ground. We can kind of do whatever we want. Noxy was like, funny, you really thought you could get away with that. So they looked up, chopped out those builds pretty easily. And yeah, because that zone kind of bounced off of that mountain into that valley, it was a pretty easy drop down for them. That on top of the refresh that they're going to get from those eliminations, of course, take that into the end game. Boom, they pick up that dub.
I love it so much, but guys, that means there's only 2 games left to go.
Wow.
And again, we need to be in top 5 in consistency by the end the day ends, or get a victory royale, or we're going to the last chance qualifier. We'll break down more of the action from that last game after this short break, so we'll see you in just a moment. What's going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome back to the FNCS. Game number 3 is done with 2 games left to go. My stress levels are through the roof. Okay, though, Noxy, Curly, Aura King, aka Virgo, got themselves the victory royale in game number 3 in a slightly shambles situation. But listen, a win is a win. And of course, kind of now, we just have to start focusing on Major 1 Finals, right? That's our next goal.
Yeah, and I really don't think it was as shambles as you guys are kind of giving it credit for. I think that they had a perfect opportunity. They were paying attention to how high ground was going. They executed it pretty well, and although there was a moment where they were kind of low on mats, they were able to drop down pretty confidently, get what they needed to, and then go for the win. So congratulations to this trio right here. I don't think you were shambles whatsoever, but there are some teams outside of this top 10 right now that might be in shambles.
Yeah, I mean, Noxy, Virgo, and Curly, I mean, even without that victory royale right there, let's say they went down to like second place, something like that, their other 2 games were both 4 places, so definitely doing very, very well throughout the entirety of the day. Another team that's trying to creep back up into that top 5 of the consistency leaderboard is going to be Quanti, Byla, and Edgy. And listen, I can't lie, you know, listen, we play a little game while we're watching the games happen. Those end games kind of unfold. Me, Kelly, Zeke, we talk about it. We're like, you know, who's going to win this game? My money was on Quanti, Edgy, and Byla right there. I swear they had such a good position on the low ground. They were finding so many eliminations. They were working very, very well together as a team. Like, for example, right here, finding 2. Byla's got 90 builds already. Like, it just looked like they were doing so well. And then the little play where they tried to sit back in the storm and use the chug splashes because they were low on mats just ended up costing them. The higher ground team was just a little bit too aware of that one happening.
Yeah, I definitely think Zone Pull had an issue with that as well. They just weren't in a great position, and they were kind of holding on to that second height, but when high ground has that like mountain edge, it's just really hard to be able to maneuver around it. But they went from 15th place to now 9th place as far as consistency goes. So, or, you know, as far as leaderboard goes. So they are within that top 10. They are within that reaching range of making it into the Major 1 Finals. So I don't think that they're necessarily feeling too stressed right now.
That's fair, but again, I mean, it's only 107 points, right? It's not that crazy right now, and right behind them at 105, you got Oreo, Snakes, and Wigs as well. So, Kelly, I'm just stressed because I know with 2 games left to go, if they make a mistake and they're eliminated, that's gonna be really, really bad for them. We also wanted to kind of double back. Chaos Gaming ending second place there. Look, again, if we could just make a second place, pair that up with some eliminations, we can start to really rapidly build up those consistency points.
Yeah, Noah W plays DC Chaos Gaming here, another trio that's been able to kind of stick together throughout the entirety of this season so far, and that's definitely showing up here today, having that synergy. They're just working so well together in these end games right now, and that's definitely why we're seeing them so high up the leaderboard, of course. During the play-ins, they were actually able to walk away with 4 victory royales, so I kind of expect to see a potential win coming out of them in game number 4.
I mean, this trio has some of the most eliminations of the remaining teams left in the lobby, right? That's what kind of has carried through their game 1 and game 2 performance, because they didn't even place within the top 10. But you could see them towards the top of the leaderboard, and that's kind of the effect that Zeke keeps talking about, right? Like, you know, we think about game number 2, our trio that won that game, they got second place in the first game, and then our trio that just won the game just recently happened, they had 4th and 4th. So a lot of those points that were accumulated in those first 3 games, well, they're already qualified. So some of these other teams can have those pop-off games and not necessarily be affected on the consistency leaderboard as much, because a lot of those points are disappearing to instant quals.
And I think that's fine, right, Vivid? Like, I kind of feel like maybe we want that a little bit, because again, if it just gives us even a single game to try and close this gap, I mean, anything is possible. And you know, we only have 2 games left to go. With 2 games, we just need a victory royale. We just need to put together like a second place with 9 elims like we just saw happen. Anything is possible, Viv.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, when I was kind of talking about that, I was looking at Bucky, Okus, and Crazy's True, who, you know, they've pretty much only had 1 good game, a second place with 12 eliminations, and they're top 5 right now. So definitely possible to still clutch up.
I love it, Kelly. 2 games. You're always a pro with the advice. What do we got to do? Hit me with it.
Go for height. That just seems to be a winning
I love it.
factor right now. Oh, that's it. Okay.
I didn't mean stop
Right.
giving me the vibe. It's fine. Just, that's it. Just everyone go for height all the time. Everyone right now, this game, everyone height. Here we go. Casters, do you agree? Height, are we all going for it?
100% we're going for it. They don't call me the 6-foot phenom for nothing, and I think that was a huge wake-up call, Monster. They took height, they held on to height, and they're realizing there's not too many teams contesting up there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way that Curly and team was able to kind of run away with that one, things seemed pretty easily secured for them at that point. Honestly, I thought Quanti and team had it, but they got caught out with the one play, that little lurk strategy on the mid ground, trying to go ahead and take it while the team wasn't looking. However, I'm looking at the standings right now. It is very, very competitive. As teams are punching their way out, I mean, we have about 11, 12, or 13 teams kind of in this sandwich of 20 or 30-point range, and that means that it's going to be highly competitive now as we start getting to the end. So let's see it here, because game number 4 is ready.
Time is definitely running out very, very quickly, and I think for the teams that may be outside of that threshold you were talking about, 30, 40, that maybe even have a 60-plus point gap, you got to be looking at teams like Olaf, Max, Smiley, Noah Plays, Chaos, DC, Awesomer, the ones at the top of the leaderboard. If they win a game, that essentially opens up a spot at the bottom of the leaderboard. So even if you don't win, you play consistent enough, top 5, some eliminations, you could squeak your way into a top 10 and a major one final spot.
Yeah, right around that 4-team spot, Day, Moxie, and Penta are kind of holding the line, I would say, for teams that are relatively consistently earning points right now. Talked about Day, Moxie, and Penta, you can see the Demon's Dojo was a great decision for them to just secure, right, and kind of hold to themselves. They did have to fight for it, though, coming out of that game after Kanata and crew were, of course, qualled in, but seems like things kind of settled here, and it's been nothing but uphill for them since then.
Yeah, nobody really wants to contest this, especially when you have 2 opportunities left. You still want to make sure you can maintain at least a chance on that top 5 so that we have 2 different win conditions overall. As we jump team to team early on, spots opening up, even ones that are gliding in still have that risky play just like this. If you have one of those far drop spots that you need to land, it's kind of the risk-reward scenario.
That boy Smitty was just letting it rain right there. No connect at all. But that pressure coming in. But yeah, talking about Day's team, actually, I was looking at the performance. They actually were in 3rd with 11 eliminations. Before that, they had a 31st and an 18th, really highlighting the fact that you can have one great game and be in the conversation. So for game 4, this is that game, right? This is your moment to put yourself in a position to succeed coming into game 5. Remember, after this is essentially a last chance qualifier before the finals, which is going to be absolutely chaotic. Any teams can queue into it, but hold up. Last game, we really highlighted Somerset, Carrot, and Siege's pressure, the ability to perform under pressure. Let's see if they can get back to it. One thing people don't really talk about is when you get sent to the lobby early off the drop, I mean, you're not practicing anymore. You're cooling off, right? And it's another thing to really be in the game, be locked in, be laser focused. But when you get sent back to the lobby, it's a huge momentum downturn for you, and they really haven't gotten to play a true game today.
Yeah, and it's like 25 minutes of in your own head of sorts.
Yep.
Trying to figure out what went wrong, what you can do better, and it's just an off-spawn fight. And even though right now it looks like both teams have shields, they have materials, they have an opportunity to fight it out, I almost want to see them kind of both disengage, because the longer and longer this one takes, we've seen it at least twice so far, that third-party team comes in, and then neither team realistically ends up winning that off-spawn.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking right now is teams gotta move, man. You can't stay there and allow the other trios to come in and even take pop shots. You don't have the ability to lose and take damage right now. Skater, Oliver, and Dash, though, setting themselves up for success here. Slowly and surely crept their way up to a solid position on the standings. That last game really being a follow-up of a performance there. Another 7th place in the bag for them. Not as many eliminations as the previous games, but all the more steady, which is exactly what we want to see from this team. Now, do keep in mind, that game ended right on their drop spot, and they still weren't the team on high ground. I was kind of curious about how that ended up playing out as to why they weren't in the most prime position.
Almost feels like the flip of a coin. Do you rotate? Do you not? They chose to rotate instead of not. Zone pulled in their favor. Something that you got to kind of learn from. Sharkman, Elsa, and Rao over on the side. They do have this trio fully separated into essentially 3 different solos. They can kind of pick and choose their battles if they do want to take, and it does look like they're going to see that green light going over. A full trio causing a little bit of distraction on the Juke as well, giving up a 3v1 opportunity. It does look like their teammate Velk is just trying to disengage, move farther and further away. Don't give up a free opportunity, and he's going to find some success in just doing that. Or not.
See if he can keep racking up. I was going to say, these are easing down now, though. Look, pincer teams coming in here. All eyes on them. Lurking squad just next door. Arce's Rapid, Blue. Elsa, Sharkman, and Raw have to move, though. We talked about how they like to play this edge, and I was more surprised that they would even find teams here standing around, but it seems like others have kind of joined in the fray. Juke's going to get absolutely slammed on right now, and then our Rapid jumping on in for it. Ramps down, doesn't even need to edit it. So works his way right through. It's a quick elimination, but hope they're not too comfortable. Take a look at what's coming next.
Yeah, it's Elsa and Sharkman. I believe that was Oliver's team above them as well. There's still that solo lurking around because there's reboots that he still needs to grab. Fight's still breaking out. Nobody really wants to give up, especially when they feel like they might be isolated on this side. Free loot for them, that's what they're thinking, especially with Rapid going down. Rao's going to be able to solidify that one. Sharkman and Elsa there, all able to clean up, spread the loot around. And now that they have a 3v2, huge advantage. This is going to be a great opportunity, but out comes the Typhoon Blade, causing a little bit of commotion. Elsa almost going down, 34 HP. Even Sharkman gets a taste of their own medicine, but it is going to be Rao saving the day, getting the revive. But they still have to be careful, because not only that solo, all of OG's team is there as well.
Yup, still danger all in the horizon here. Anything can happen when you're on these early game rotates right now. N-Pen, Taki Ishu. What are they looking? 102 points right now. Very comfortably positioned on the leaderboard here. They've been performing very well so far. Up the hill they go. Fresh teams moving on in right here. Let's see how this one ends up playing out. Who's going to see who first? Oh, it's Noah W Plays team that gets shot from the side there, and all of a sudden now, hold up, suppressed pistol might actually be the weapon you want here to keep a low profile, but doesn't seem like they got the tags that they wanted.
Yeah, and these are two teams I would expect to kind of rotate parallel to one another throughout more of these games than they have. They kind of land one at Hopeful Heights down below, one at the Rainbow Fields right above. But with the zone pulling not too far from this direction, a little bit of a north lean. They're positioned over on these mountains, trying to take advantage of even teams towards the Kappa Kappa factory. And that's a whole new team over there, because that was Noxy, Virgo, and Curly spot that they were landing at before, rotating up this side. So a team that even might not have experience on this side of the map, if that's something they can pinpoint and really figure out.
See Ruins, Bex, Sin right now. Set up outside. Just finished up the set of eliminations. Putting them up at 2 right now. It's going to be tragic. He tries to void only mask out, but not taken down. We talked about teams having the very rare opportunities to pick up the body and secure the full damage. They're going to do just that. Today's set of games not as intense as yesterday's with the Storm Surge, right? Remember, we had so much first Storm Surge activity early into like Zone 3 and Zone 4. So it does seem like things have kind of moved along or progressed relatively well for Group 3.
Yeah, I think especially for those fights that are happening on the edges of the map, the contested ones or not, you're so isolated, and teams, especially in the beginning of the game, are looting up. They're trying to get their own game ready. That grants a lot of time and space. And so, as long as their heals there off the drop, you definitely win a fight off spawn and kind of solidify Surge for the first couple of zones. Go from one team that's kind of calm, cool, collected, not a worry in the world, fishing, to a team deep into zone, forced to get a revive after just solidifying eliminations. That's Oreo, Wiggs, and Snakes. They know Doxy's nearby just trying to get out as a solo, but he has just a sliver of HP. The big question is how much heals does he actually have left to make this a fighting chance here in Game 4?
Yeah, he's off to the races. See if he can play for a pickup. Meanwhile, names all over the horizon here up the Flutter Frogs. It's continued to be a hot spot for the region. Every group slowly migrated on in. Few Scuffies and Crook are the ones with control of things at the moment for the main house. However, no one here is safe, so it's just a matter of time before we're gonna have to get moving. Oh, Scuffies though. Who was that? I didn't even realize there was a player lurking outside the window. Fuse stepping up onto Prom there. And off he goes, and they're on full chase right now. They're not happy about that.
I can agree with you right there. I felt like I didn't even see him, and we have the observer at our advantage. So huge surprise for him, a huge wake-up call. And he has no choice but to move himself further and further, deeper and deeper in the zone. But he's basically moving himself towards a whole nother team. But Fuzak, Scuffies, and Crook, they're going to be able to clean that one up. Move far enough into zone, get the loot, and then just kind of retreat back. And you see Smitty up above. He's going to go down. Another solo just stuck in a trio situation. He goes down. His full team sent back to the lobby here in Game 4.
It's crazy when you're on the hunt right there. That's one of the few times the kinetic blade, perfect, right? Perfect for actually touching down first. Boone, Bobby, enough have this high ground right outside the Magic Monster, so they're going to be the team putting a lot of damage, a lot of pressure onto all these Flooded Frogs teams we just saw. Out the drop. Inside the Storm, there was a team there you saw wrapping up a battle, so plenty of options to choose from here.
Yeah, I like that positioning. You've seen a lot of teams trying to grab these mountainsides early, some in the zone, some not so much. But Demon's Dojo, you saw a lot of the teams at the northwestern part of the map just trying to rotate north, not directly in zone just yet, just trying to give themselves a slow rotation. Not too many teams are going to be landing above Demon's Dojo or the eastern side of it as well. So if they can find themselves unscathed on that side of the map, that will be a free rotation. We got to watch out for Deshaun, Moxie, and Penta, who throughout the course of the games after Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid qualified in Game 1, they moved out of the lobby, and that's when they moved over to Demon's Dojo.
I feel like pressure's on for Day right now to really help his team navigate their way to finals, right? Obviously, you saw the title there. He's got FNCS titles under his belt when it comes down to this trio setting. And they're doing okay after that last game, but those first two definitely rough. Meanwhile, NPen, Taki, and Ishu talk about pressure on the vets. NPen for sure has to lead this team as well. They're at 2 eliminations right now, trailing ahead.
Okay, this zone has 2 mountains that I'm worried about. 2 big mountains that I'm worried about. The ones over towards Demon's Dojo and Brutal Boxcars that has the potential to pull the zone in either one of those favor. We almost got like a repeat of that last game and and how much chaos ensued going up and down those mountains. But in this game, Slade, Champ, and Salt are going to be the first ones on the Shogun's Arena, trying to claim that medallion quick and early. That way they can set their eyes back on the Getting Surge. 70 points so far. They're at least keeping themselves in contention with these last 2 games.
Yeah, they're right about where you want to be before you're in super desperate mode and need a victory royale. They're still in the game right now, undoubtedly. Do keep in mind the teams you see positioned on that mountain to the west, that is Day's trio right there. So this island, they can see everything playing out right here. They have clear visuals on it.
I just had an opportunity. Silla, King Expo, and Jargu. They had a high ground in that last game before they were targeted and eventually pounced on, but 138 points so far. In terms of the consistency leaderboard, they entered this game in 3rd place. Now they're in the driver's seat. They're in a situation where they don't have to necessarily get aggressive. As long as they control their surge and have the correct rotations, they've been having a good day so far, and they can continue having a good day. And there's the potential to see this team, even if they don't get a VR in the Major 1 finals.
Wins or consistency, that's what's the format looking like right now. Take a look at the leaderboard right there, though. 149 is the current point lead. I'd say that's pretty on par, right? With groups 1 and 2. It's probably going to be a little, I'll say a little lower, the overall threshold.
Yeah, I think it's going to be closer to like a Group 2 style than Group 1. But with 2 games left, I mean, that means if Olaf, Max, Smiley win, Noah, Chaos, DC, Awesomer, or even this team here, Quanti, Bylon, Edgy, if they could pull out a big win here, they're just outside of the bubble, but that just moves up a team below them to have that opportunity in the final game. Oof.
Shots coming in off in the distance there. See Okus, Bucky, Craze there. Continue to play these rivers, opting to just fish it out, keep their heels up. Jump in there doing just that. This is going way far now, so obviously can't take them all to go. They're going to keep the fishing rod for the road here. Must be more water to play for a little later. And then the dead side rotate on foot.
Yeah, just might be like 1 or 2 teams they might have to worry about here going over those mountains. Depending on anybody else, cuts their rotation a little bit towards the left. And because of that fishing rod, that's exactly what you said. They're going to be looking for any water they can position themselves by, but they're going to get to the top of this mountain first, give themselves a little bit of elevation. That way they can scout outward. Can they go for water? Do they just keep their elevated position on the side of these mountains? You can kind of see the mark on the mini-map of what they're aiming for.
There you go. Using these Void Oni masks once again to go ahead and get forwards. A lot of bases here in the distance, so obviously want to be a little bit more careful here. Staying active onto the field, although they don't need the damage. It's got to start conditioning the lobby. Every inch you can take. It's going to be a big one, but wait a second. Teams landing on them, not content with them being on the edge, but happy to take an edge fight. A little 3-on-3 breakout. It's going to be going down. Pay attention to the feed. Meanwhile, Oreo, again, playing one of the few areas like we talked about. It's going to have that water, right? So this western side is going to be the more favorable one.
And depending on how active this lobby gets, it's almost like from here on out, Storm Surge going to be in the back of your minds. Zone 5 is going to have to go down to 63 players. Zone 6 is going to have to go down to 54 players. Huge cuts off here, and that's where you see them just immediately trying to get as much surge as possible if they're below, or just continue to pad those stats if they're above. You don't want to have to worry about it later and later as a player just narrowly escapes getting taken down. This Slepsy sitting right next to a trio that's just been progressively getting better almost each and every game.
Yeah, Okus, Bucky, and Craze right now. With Slepsy's team being below the surge and how desperate they're acting, I mean, they have no reason to overcommit right now. Yeah, they're just walking into this trap here that Craze is set up, and I mean, this is a huge refresh. Not that they really needed it, but hey, any weapon upgrades right now is going to come very much welcomed. And they pull zone. Okay, this is a big opportunity now for Bucky and his team. Granted, other teams are now jumping up at the chance to take a mountain position here, but one might argue you cannot beat the fact that Bucky and team have so much material now to work with.
And you can kind of see the thought process right now from Sam Mandija and Havoc. You go for that extra base. There is a little bit of distance to cover. They kind of shoot the edges to make sure nobody's hunkered over in that position on top of that surge base. And as soon as they see it's clear, they immediately rotate on over. And that inadvertently kind of helps that Bucky situation we were talking about, because that was the team that was stacked directly on top of them.
Yeah, they're thinking, why should we sit on top of this full trio and wait, that might be an abandoned base over there, right? Get themselves some safety, some cover, some distance. But for Bucky and Okus now, they get to decide when they want to go for high ground. If zone pulls more so like to the mountain that they're actually sitting on, I mean, they're going to be set up for a big game here from the high ground. Violet, Edgy, and Quantido playing a little bit of low ground here because they absolutely have to. Below the surge, this is a great opportunity for them to pick something up, but in are coming Noah, DC Awesome, and Chaos. They've been playing very well. Quanti, Violet, and Edgy have to be careful here.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Noah Plays. I think the last couple of majors, maybe it was Major 3, Major 2 of last year. He has mechanical skill, let me tell you. Pair him with the right players, he's going to be a dangerous adversary that a lot of these players are going to have to go through. But Viola, edgy quantity below the surge threshold, and now is going to be active. But quick shot like that, 29 above, that's going to be the teeter-totter of emotion that they're going through. You add on the fact that they get one of the farthest pools in the lobby across the entire western portion of the map.
I was going to say a little bit of a split focus here, but Viola catches the call for the knock on the side, and they're going straight in for it. And all of a sudden, they went from looking a little down and out to being very much in the game, as we expect a team like this to be. You know, you would think when you start looking at the lobby list, who's left in this game, right, to qualify. I mean, this is a team that surely can do it, but they have been struggling to kind of take a big lead. But this all changes now.
Almost like win or lose this game right here. More so if they don't win, this really sets the tone and the pace for them going into that last and final game of the day. If they go down early before placements, they almost need a win in order to get into the Major 1 finals. But if they have a top 5, somewhere inside of the top 8, I think they're going to be able to kind of have a calm, cool, collected average game. As Olaf smiling, maxes 193 below the damage threshold. With how well they've actually been playing and able to collect Surge, I'm actually surprised. And if this activates, it's going to be one of the first times today this trio will be taking Storm Surge damage.
Storm Surge dangerously close now to putting his team on a very bad spot. But Ronin, Oliver, and Skater are pushing through. They also needed the damage. It is just chaos down here, and there's barely space to work with. Up they go. Skater's going to go to get the full finish there. That's exactly what they needed. They needed that down body. Don't forget, another team could easily take that damage. So Skater committing there could be the difference right now that gives them room to work with. But Elsa now under pressure, bringing attention to Oliver's lair. Are they going to pick up on the fact that they could get one here? Oh, it's Noah's team shooting inwards.
That was a big and confident play by Skater. You almost wouldn't even tell that he doesn't have the most experience. Only one FNCS Finals appearance so far. He's trying to make it too. And with big plays like that, opening up the opportunity, even if he didn't get the actual elimination, is exactly what this team needs. But they get one of the farthest pulls yet again. Almost back-to-back far pulls for this trio, and they're handling themselves very nicely.
I'm not gonna lie, I found it hilarious that no one of them had no reason to get that much damage onto these teams. They just wanted points. They were literally hunting right there. And Oliver and team were like, bro, we just want the loot. We want to get out. They didn't need it either. You never know who's desperate on the outer edges. Okus, Bucky, and Savage, we kind of teed it up. We saw it coming off of the last refresh. And all of a sudden now, they're thinking what we were thinking. Maybe a little bit of height, maybe a little bit of front side. Don't overcommit though. They've already seemingly put a little too much into the last zone.
Yeah, I know Vivid called it out. It's kind of a inconsistent performances. They have pop-off games. They have games they go down earlier than that they would hope. And this is one of those games. They are well above the Storm Surge. If they handle their Storm Surge well, they usually make it deep. Already top 15 secured. 2 positions worth of placement points, and there's plenty more to go. Down below them, you see Baila, Edgy, Quanti, just trying to make themselves healthy. They know a rotation is going to be imminent, and that's why they're trying to clear the right side of that zone. If they can get ahead on this right side, they'll be one of the first teams to kind of lead a path to the promised land.
This is exactly what the most experienced teams do. They stay back and they carve their way through the outer edges here. Quanti and team need to continue to keep that pressure up. It ends up working out. They get Noah plays, and you see the scan come through as well. All that extra information gifted to them now. They're trying to see if they can get a little bit more for it. But no, the zone now starting to work against them here. Chaos has to move by himself. Turns back to double down onto Edgy. A little bit of a risky play there. Ooh, close one, but the heals come in just in the nick of time to get the Typhoon Blade out. And now they regather together. 171, though. You cannot be upset at that much points being put on the board for their team. Meanwhile, High Ground, I was going to bring some focus to Slate and Champ there, but it seems like they got a lot of attention already going their way. Bucky and Okus are seeing what's going down now, and they turn on Slate. What a huge come up there in the chop out as well. And this could be Okus, Bucky, in Craze's game now. but they're not sure either. They're like, wait a second, is it clear? Is it not? I think someone else might have jumped up. Oh, it was NPen taking advantage of that incredible opportunity there.
Yeah, but Bucky is somebody that doesn't let anything go. He's not going to forgive you. You overtake that high ground, he's going to be looking to make you pay just a little bit later. But forced down below, Bylock, Quanti, and Edgy are out and out of this game. I believe in 11th place. That's not going to be good for them because now they're leaving it to game 5, the last game of the day. But the tables have turned. Bucky and Okus, with how much damage they've been doing, it's high ground that's now focusing and targeting them.
Listen, they only have wood up there. It ain't looking good for NPen and team to have high ground right now. They're going to need to refresh the way Bucky and Okus are doing right now. Great little Siphon pickup here. Would have been better on his teammates, but it's nothing to worry about. He's got all the material count. Look at the reads right now. Bucky looks to be in decent form here, and he's got this whole layer to himself. Smartly played, too, to pick the natural elevation, so he's not too high up off the ground. Look at that, just completely outmaneuvering the lobby right now. Zone's gonna be red. It's gonna go back and cut through here, so they have to be careful now. Down to the ultimate low they go.
Take note of that decision too. He had elevation. Instead of his teammates coming in, he dropped down trying to play the hero. Others dropped down trying to follow. That Skater who gets taken down and out. Another big elimination for Bucky and his trio in this end game.
This is back-to-back 10-plus elimination games now. Threads cooking here, but into the spider's web they go. Caught like an insect and devoured. The mat's going straight to Bucky, Okus, and Craze here. Perfectly done for them. I mean, they've basically, essentially done it, but it's still a 3v3. High ground has nothing to work with. Bucky goes up with the all-in, but it wasn't good. It's a 2v2 now, the trades. These shoot super damage, and they finish the game in the end there. Bucky, Okus, and Craze win it all.
16 eliminations.
My God.
Absolutely insane. And I was saying, looking at the stats, if they have good surge early on, they have a good placement. We saw them 800, 900 above the damage threshold throughout the course of this game, and they made sure to make it count. And I gotta go ahead and look, this is another team that was in the top 5 in terms of consistency, getting their Major 1 final spot through a VR, granting a golden opportunity for some teams in Game 5.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bittersweet to see this team go through. It was genuinely entertaining to watch this all play out. Look at how they just ran through the low ground, and then Bucky goes up, and it was actually worth it. He ends up trading off the 2. The Victory Royale falls into Bucky, Okus, and Craze's lap here. Match 4 is wraps.
He does it again. We have a spot in the Major 1 finals. Let's go. You know what's crazy about this too, when I kind of pull up the stats here, we got a 19th place, and then the second place looks crazy with 12 elims, right? A 12th place, and then right back into that Victory Royale with 16 elims. These guys were fragging. They went crazy, and now they have secured themselves a seat on the bus going to the Major 1 finals.
And there was a moment there towards the end game where it looked like they were potentially going to be going for height, but the awareness that they had, knowing that there was another trio there, although they were able to chop who had to height initially, they knew that wasn't the right call to go for height in that play, and it definitely ended up working out for them. Going on the low ground, getting elim after elim, allowed them to just keep up with the loot, have the heals, especially because at one point they got really low, but by staying on that low ground, they just had infinite loot to deal with.
Yeah, what an incredible run there out of them in that lake. I mean, Jacob called it out, a total of 16 eliminations during the 10th zone. They had 6. They found 10 eliminations in the final 2 moving zones right there. And I got to give a big shout out to them, right? Because I feel like we've been kind of watching similar to like the same thing happen every single game, right? High ground kind of just bullies the low ground teams throughout the entirety of the end game, but finally the low ground took it to the height team. They were able to overcome the disadvantageous positioning down there, but because they found so many eliminations, they were able to just go up. They were all healthy, fight for that, and win the 3v3. Congratulations to Bucky, Okus, and Craze.
So much chaos going on the low ground here too, and they really just took advantage of it. Everyone dropping down, kind of just like fish in a barrel right now, able to get Elam after Elam. It just looked so easy for them. And even when it came down to the 3v3, they knew that high ground did not have the ability to really handle them. Just look at that, just the following, the tracking of where that blast player was going to go. They played that so excellently.
Yeah, they just had everyone's number right. It didn't matter who. We saw a couple players, right? We'd cut to them as a solo, like, here we go, they're going to make a play, and they were just ready to shut them down, ready to isolate them, and immediately funnel all those materials where they needed to go. And now we'll be seeing them in the Major 1 finals. What a crazy time to be alive! Now, with that being said, we only have one game left to go. But first, we have to go to a break. When we return, standings and the last game out of Heat 3. So we'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back, Fortnite fam. The last game of the day. You know what? I'm just adding 5 more games on. We're just gonna go for a lot more. We're just gonna another 4 hours. Okay, we're just gonna keep the ball rolling. In all seriousness, though, last game of the day, and in case you missed out on who won the last one, Bucky, Okus, Craze got themselves a 16 elim victory royale. I'm sure they're popping off. I'm sure they've got reactions on their socials, so make sure you go find them. But now we have to turn attention to this last game. Friends, we do not want to take it to last chance qualifier. We want to try and just take that seat from the bus and just secure the spot to Major 1 finals. I'm stressed.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these other trios are as well, dealing with the situation at hand. And obviously, as the games go on, as we reach the final opportunities to get that confident ticket into the Major 1 Finals, strategies start going out the door. Everyone starts going off the handle. I can't even imagine what the end game is going to be like for game number 5. But there's just so many teams that we have here in our top 10 right now. I mean, look, Quanti, Byla, Edgy in that 10th place spot right now. And although it is 6th through 10th that do move forward into the Major 1 Finals, you don't want to be in 10th spot right now, Vivid.
No, you definitely do not. And, you know, to shout out one of these specific teams right now, I remember Zeke kind of talking about this. Oliver OG, his trio up there, currently in first place on the consistency leaderboard, right, with 184 points. And, you know, Zeke mentioned earlier, this trio is just getting better every single game, and that has stayed true. Game number 1, 10th. They followed up with a 7th, 7th, 5th. So they just had their best game. So now they're kind of sitting comfortably, right? They've established a blanket that they can use. I'm not gonna lie, Kelly, this leaderboard is very, very close right now. 184 points. It looks good right now. Can it hold?
Yeah, and right behind them, just by 1 point, it's Noah W. Plays' trio there. So it definitely seems like our standings have a pretty strong top, like it's very top heavy right now, where there's only, you know, 10, 12 points separating 5th through 7th. But it's also pretty close from 15th all the way to 10th place. It's just 40 points that separate them. And we've seen these crazy game 5 clutches from Group 1 and Group 2, where 70, 80 points, even without the win, is gained through the final game right here. Looking at the page, the second page, these are the teams that are going to be pulling out any crazy strat that they can. And there's some big names here. We got Degens in 18th place right now. Day is in 13th place. I can't imagine Day, Penta, Moxie not trying to go all out in this final game.
Yeah, I mean, right now that top 5 sits at 150 points. So technically speaking, if we're talking like a Cease Clutch, who when he picked up 80 points, we could work our way all the way down to teams that have 70 points. Look how much that opens up the possibilities for a clutch out of any of these trios. Just love this format so much because you can clutch up on the consistency leaderboard, even though you're supposed to do good every single one of these games, just because of how the lobby's playing out, how well you can actually do in one of these games. It's possible to clutch up via that. And then of course, it's possible to clutch up via a win as well.
What's crazy too is if we did see, you know, one of these players already in that top 5 consistency, if they moved out, we're going to continue to see all of those, you know, heavy point teams move out. And then again, we're kind of trickling down going, okay, well, who has points, right? Like if we're taking all these big points off the leaderboard, this could come down to like this final game, right? This could still go any which way, and I'm very excited to see it. We wanted to talk about a trio specifically, NPen, who in this last game got themselves a 2nd place with 5 elims. Again, we kind of see these trios ending the game in that 2nd place, not quite getting the victory royale, but it's still important to like hit those numbers, right? To hit those elims and placement, because if we push this to a Major 1 Finals, it's going to be consistency that wins you that Major 1 Finals and the spot to the Global Championships.
Yeah, NPen's trio holding height there, and we've seen it in the first 3 games that pretty much the trio that had height towards the end was able to pull out the victory royale. But when you're going up against the 3v3 against a trio like Bucky and Okus, it's just curtains for you. There's no way that you're going to be able to take that fight, and I think they even knew that.
Well, listen, curtains are closing very, very fast here. Only 1 game left. I'm not going to lie, in game number 4, height was looking a little contested right there. And with a lot of these teams only possibly winning through a win, I'm imagining it's going to be a lot more chaotic this game.
Oh, why would you say that? The stress levels are through the roof, but it's okay. We got 2 friends who will walk us through this last game. So find your seats on the battle bus. Monster D face Jacob PR. Over to you.
I'm looking forward to it. We've gone through different groups, and now the final group and the final game is here. A couple of names that we definitely want to see pop off here are going to be Day's team, Edgy's team. There's so much that can happen still, Jacob.
Yeah, there's anybody's game, especially since throughout the course of the day, a couple of those teams winning the VRs were inside of the top 5, including Bucky in that last game, 5th on the consistency leaderboard, opening up the spots, giving us an opportunity for an entertaining finale of a last game in group stages, and the battle bus is ready. Let's get into it.
If you find yourself sitting up in that 184-point spot the way Oliver, Dash, and Skater have been, they should be all but qualified, as well as Noah W Plays, Chaos, and DC Awesomer. I am going to be keeping close eyes, though, on Enpen, Ishu, and Taki. Do they have enough to coast their way to the end? The question is up on the menu right now, but take a look at this. Drops are being shifted right now. Siege is carried in Somerset, going for the Foxy Floodgate after Bucky's team qualifies here. So this is a brand new spot opening up. I love that we are seeing them actually mix it up right now. We talked about this. Was it going to be worth it to see this happen sooner?
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. Bucky, Okus, and Craze qualify out of Foxy Floodgate, a thing that were contested and fighting already throughout the day. And from one fight to the next, Somerset, Siege, and Carrot said, you know what? Last game of the day, let's put it all on the line. They alpha up and take the best part of Foxy Floodgates. So not only they're going to be able to get all this loot, the metal, the most precious and valuable resource is going to be down there for them to gather.
And you know what? Can we all agree? That was a perfect drop. All 3 of them mastered that. They touched down at the same exact time. So fast, in fact, that the other trio was like, all right, you got it. And they just backed off, taking the other side of the drop. Well played for them. Well, look, this is going to keep things exciting for us here. Meanwhile, Oliver, OG, Dash, and Skater, we talked about that team that's in the lead with the points right now. I mean, they are just neck and neck with Noah's team. And it's really cool to see the differences in the story, right? Oliver's team, very consistent placement-wise, but Noah's team has had so much more eliminations overall, really carrying them up the standings there.
Yeah, and you kind of look at a team like Oliver. They had 17 finals appearances throughout each and individual pairing of that team. As a trio, they had one finals appearance this season to practice what they had, and they're really making it count every step of the way. Frederick's is trying to do that same thing, disengage on out. They lost the overall battle at Shogun Solitude. He's just trying to stay alive. And the big thing for him is that the zone is pulled over in this direction, so there's going to be a lot of time for him to try to do that.
Interesting to see that he already had a couple eliminations too before they got out of there. Just giving them at least a little bit of an edge on the points here, but if you're down in the 40-ish area, you're going to need a win. What we saw happen in all the other groups come game 5, they were fast-paced. Teams were trying to depend on closing the gap and pushing their way into the top 5 consistent-wise. I'm almost getting the feeling that this is going to be the most stacked game of any group because it's the last chance, last game, no more groups, all eyes on you, and we're going to see teams go for the win as opposed to the consistency points.
Yeah, I was just saying right now, DC just get a little bit too close for comfort against the solo player that kind of naturally lands over there. But this is what I'm talking about, the Hopeful Heights and all of the surrounding space. DC kind of leaves his duo to loot up the actual POI, and he loots up all the area around. There's the 2 turtles there that give you a good amount of chests, good amount of heals. They have the water sprites, and then if they can replenish a lot of those water sprites if there is a shrine nearby. Easy looting.
Gotta play for that shrine. Hopeful Heights for DC Awesomer, Chaos, and Noah here has been very nice for them. Looks like Rapid found another elimination in the feed there, so I finishing up what he started over by the Shogun. Meanwhile, Quanti, Viola, Edgy here. Got to see a good amount of their play. They seem to have only gotten better as some of the other teams were slowly making their way out of the lobby. Last couple rounds being pretty decent for them on the elimination side of things, but it's just placement points holding them back now. But if they can keep up the pace, they'll be in. They will have to worry about like teams like Silic though, right? That have been right on their heels, playing ever so consistently, and then bam, they drop the game. And now all of a sudden Quanti and crew are up in that spot.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that quick stat to the last remaining team with the most experience in this lobby with 38 FNCS finals. The next highest team after that is Havoc, Sandman, and Degen with 17 finals appearances, and 15 of them are Degen alone. So when you talk about experience and kind of being able to use that to propel yourself forward, this is a team you should have your eyes on here in Game 5.
Oh, Somerset, Sieges, and Carrot have their work cut out for them, though. Once again, they're met with 2 different trios. Make it another off in the distance here. And wait a second. Is that G's? What are they doing here?
Same ones.
What are they doing here?
With the mix-ups that's been happening so far, Eulogy takes a big shot. He's trying to hunker back, but it's these spots right there where you're just kind of stuck crouching. Doesn't fully go up a mountain, so you're just there. Somerset was the one that got the first knock onto G's, kind of enacting a little bit of revenge from that contested spawn earlier on in the day at Warriors Watch, taking it elsewhere. Oliver OG was the other team you were mentioning, trying to third-party work their way in. A couple quick shots onto Oliver, but he's the one that's by himself. You see the duo in the mini-map trying to take another angle. That's where they're hoping to have a strength in numbers to solidify some damage.
Do keep in mind, Gary, G's, and Doxy just land a little to the west. The Warriors Watch is right there. Like, Foxy and Warriors Watch are right on top of each other. And you got to think about it. With Somerset's team not landing there, they probably panic. They're thinking, wait, how are we going to get our damage, right? So for them to move in this quickly makes sense. But my gosh, I'm sure Somerset is thinking, what are you guys doing at the drop already? When they were already in a fight with another team. Serum missed in Threads here. Just further west, fighting at the Night Shift Forest. Again, other teams that have kind of mixed up their drop come on in and have tried to make best with these end games. It's one of the teams that have had a little bit of success here. Going up against Sharkman, Elsa. It seems like Sharkman might be out of the lobby right now.
He got taken down by Mist. Basically separated, ripped apart from the rest of his trio. You can see Threads with Mist. Serum's just trying to take a different approach towards the top. And this is something you see a lot of our tier 1 teams actually do in terms of when they are fighting box to box. 2 of them kind of stick together. A third one goes towards the top and tries to take the cones, kind of boxing them in. Even if they have the floor, they can't get out through the cone. And then they kind of converge, force them, sandwich them into where they want them to be.
Looking at what's happening right now. Team's just waiting this out. Trying to look for a chance. Even though they have the advantage, this is what I was talking about. I genuinely believe the pressure is on right now to just make sure you win this game. Looking down at the Warriors Watch as well, it seems like Somerset team might have went back to their trusty home base, so things are setting up well. They can hear the shots. Teams are looking to edge their way towards it. Reds, Mist, and Serum are going to be in for a world of trouble if they can't quickly convert here.
Yeah, just going on the chase on the Rao. Typhoon Blades makes it much harder to escape rather than if you had a Void Mask. And there goes that trio that you were talking about, trying to get some shots into the mix.
Yeah, it's actually G's and Doxy. They got the pickup and they came back.
It's unfortunate for Rao. He really got chased around. Like I said, with the Typhoon Blade and the Kinetic Blade, it doesn't allow you to escape as quickly and as smoothly as you had a Void Mask. So they're going to be able to go down. One player's at least staying alive as a solo. That puts a lot of pressure to get these reboots and have a good game here in the last one of the day.
After this, you will be sent to the last chance qualifier. So tournament runs coming to an end. Get back to that fight that we just moved away from. G's, Gary, and Doxy, so after getting picked up, they've already began to reinitiate the battle here. I'm actually looking to pull up the standings. Where does that actually put G's in this team here? Because they've had, obviously, a lot of off-spawn success. They've rode that momentum. Okay, so they actually came into this game with 90 points. That is not bad at all. They are very much in the fight right now. And if they can get this elimination, they'll be up towards 100+ points, which means that they can very well take that 5th place consistency spot on the standings.
Yeah, I think Cease's clutch from the first day just really just goes to show that you can never really count yourself out. And it wasn't just a 30, 40-point clutch. It was 80 points.
Yeah.
That's almost like getting the actual win with a couple of eliminations. That goes to show how much work they actually put in. And it just kind of gives hope to a lot of these teams all around. No matter how bad it looks, no matter how bleak it is, you can't give up because you never know what can get tossed your way. But as soon as they try to disengage outward, deeper and deeper into the zone, they immediately get focused by a team that was waiting for an opportunity to do just this.
Yeah, to be fair, even Bucky's team, I mean, they got bodied game number 1 and then still kept their heads up and all of a sudden popped back off with multiple 10 pluses, and then the win.
And Pen, attacking Nishao. Kind of a risky spot to be in here considering your position on the leaderboard, but at the same time you don't really want to change up too much that was working in order to get you here. These early game scuffles, this is how they were getting some surge. Even if they didn't necessarily get the eliminations, the damage that matters most. It's getting a little bit too messy for their comfort, so they're going to disengage, move further and further towards the south of the zone because they know another team is positioned just outside of Seaport City.
The bigger problem is look at all the brick and metal that was spent in that build right there. Isho barely has any heavy mats to work with right now, so to farm back heavy material after being at a drop like Misty or this Meadows here, I mean it's already kind of scuffed. So
yeah, I know for a fact there's no metal. There's literally no metal over here.
Not the place to get situated there. So for them to use what they could, it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for them. Meanwhile, Silic Expo in Jarg, I mean, they really have, I would say, have been the most surprising team on the day. One that I didn't expect to just come in and play as well as they have.
Yeah, and they're only about like 9 points down overall. Well, let's make it 6 after that elimination. Quickly moving up the leaderboard, taking opportunities. You just got to make sure you don't bite off more than you can chew. Almost let your opponents make the mistake. Let the nerves get to them. Oh, the zip line trying to destroy some builds and really catch them off guard, but they're just too close to that low ground that the zip line isn't really going to cause that much destruction to their builds.
Take a look at things. Still 27 teams remaining in this game here. We might actually be working our way towards another storm surge potentially. We're right on the line right now. So we edge our way towards zone 4. I think Threads missed in Serum. Just watching, and then they ambush Desi, but Desi quick with the builds there. Flow and bow shot now. Everyone kind of basing down here. What a huge risk. 120 points to be taking a storm fight right now. They're not even cap material. They're really depending on finding a refresh right now. This is a very questionable position they've now put themselves in, as they are running out of time to actually get good material for the mid and the end game.
Yeah, they're going to have to kind of loot up scraps that are left behind, whether it's fruits and vegetables that you could forge, bandages, med kits left behind. Luckily for them, it's not too far till they're actually in the zone, but then they're going to have to rotate again in about 25 seconds because you see the zone, the edge of it isn't actually there. So they got to be able to act very, very quickly if they want to get themselves some good position inside of the zone, especially since all these other teams are really beating them to the punch.
See what's going on here. The shrine already turned in the spirit.
Replenish those charges. And as soon as he rotates, he just kind of gets tagged up just a little bit. And you can see in the distance, Sieges, along with Carrot, kind of getting their surge base ready, not too far off from the Shogun's Arena Island that just actually spawned up.
Like they were getting to see a little life out of Carrot and Somerset's team there. 4 below for Dragon. This is not looking good. And it was because the reboot's gone off. We jump up to 80 players, so seems like we are definitely going to be in for some trouble here. Only 93 above for Prom, Mafia, and Status, so they're very much neck and neck right here. They could be the two teams that are going to juggle this back and forth right now.
And this is such a unique and weird spot to actually fight at. Kind of tavern underneath Magic Mosses, so where there's only really one way in up towards the bottom unless you take the porta potty. That kind of leaves an all-out fight. The Typhoon Blade causing a little bit of confusion. One's going to go down. One's going to be left by himself. Fishy making sure to watch back, not to get surprised before they all turn and burn, getting a full team elimination. Something that they actually needed for how their games have been going today.
Definitely going to bounce them right back into things and, more importantly, eliminate the Surge from being active. All right, well, Champ, Slate, and Salt here seem to have secured the boss. But they got the attention of another team, that KBG trio that was down low. And decided to come on up, possibly to help with their rotate. Take a look at the highlight here. Oh, it was off the backs of a full-on fight.
They're just a duo up there. Full trio makes their way on up there as well. Still kind of stacked up. You see the medallion was already solidified, so the boss is not going to play a role. Depending on who has it here in this situation, they could definitely try and make a play. Isolated from the rest of the map, so high up. But as Champ and Salt trying to make sure that they hold their angles. There might even be more than actually two teams up here. Might even be three.
Yeah, KBG Beza is a completely different trio. Yep. Crook and Scuffies right now are eyeing up Champ and Salt. Slate's already out, so this is a duo down low, possibly the full trio sitting right above them right now. Crook wants nothing to do with this. And it is a full trio. Beza, Vindich, Bola. Just popping off right now.
Yeah, I like that play from them to just get out. They got the medallion. They got the boss, the extra heals that are up there. There's no real necessity for that position, especially if the zone moves on over to the east. But for Bola, Vindici, and Beza, 486 damage above the threshold. And it's almost a blessing that so many teams were up here, because how many times, not only this weekend, but in Group 1 last weekend as well, we saw teams try to take this positioning up here, but it actually caused them a little bit of detriment to the game plan because they were unable to actually get the surge that they need.
It always comes down to the surge in these high-level lobbies. This one particularly, like I said, just shaped up a little bit differently for Game 5 of Group 3 because there are no more chances. Just feels like a lot more pressure than usual riding on these teams right now. Oh, look at it. This is a bad spot for Ishu, Taki, and Enpen to be in. They were in third on overall consistency. Now they're below the surge. They have to take the fight here. Big time to really prove that they have what it takes to be in the finals right now. Enpen has been here before. He knows how to handle these situations, but can Ashu and Taki remain under control, remain under their composure? No W plays the other team on the other side of the wall. Okay, that's a team that's had pretty much nothing to lose right now. Very intense standoff here.
Yeah, this is just a nightmare situation to be in. 200 below the damage threshold.
And
even if you somehow survive, all your resources go out the window. And exactly like you said, they have zone right now underneath a bridge. Their opportunity for getting Storm Surge in the distance is non-existent. They have no choice but to fight this box-to-box. That's why they keep pushing themselves forward. Noah plays just trying to disengage his reposition, but he goes down. That was a massive shot coming out, but it is going to be a trade. They try to go ahead and converge, save the body, but Taki goes down. Enpen is out as well. Ishao now stuck as a solo with the game and FNCS on the line in terms of group stages.
This is bad for Isho right now. I was wondering if they can handle the pressure, and it's Enpen and Taki who were the first to fall there, to be cracked. And somehow Noah just slips out the side. Hey, well, look, he's got the damage he needs. They did pull the zone, so it's not completely over. And it does seem like Ishu might be able to, you know, secure most of the loot here. Yup, there it is. This is what's important, is getting the material. Oh my gosh, almost completely caught out there. And now keyed in by DC. The other team has a chance to bounce back. And that's a sweet surprise for Ishu there. I don't think they expected Vex to be waiting behind the other wall. What a messy exchange here, but no way Noah gets another pickup here just to keep them in the game, keeping things interesting for us.
You know what he's saying right now is you got to never back down.
Oh, no.
Never give up. Ishao's trying to do the same thing. 126, needs a perfect headshot, and just timing wasn't there. You got about 7 seconds in between Storm Surge ticks. Once that one brings you down to under 25 HP, you're on the clock.
All right, Jacob, well, here's a question. Is 171 points going to be enough? There is 20 points roughly separating them from 8th and 9th. So it's looking kind of good, but at this point, for them to really feel comfortable, I think they need Oliver OG to win, or somehow Noah W plays in them to bounce back and pull a victory out.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because you kind of look at Group 1, Group 2, 205, and I think about like 180 something was the point threshold. Both of those higher than the 171 point mark. So it's just kind of one of those things where you're a team like them, you just got to sit and watch and kind of just hope everybody else makes mistakes. Quanti, Edgy Bila, another team under them on that leaderboard in the hunt to try to steal away the spot. And again, they find themselves in a peculiar spot. Barely 30 above the damage threshold for Surge, which is surprising for how much experience this team actually has in finals lobbies.
I see Somerset's name still up. I see Oliver OG there. I'm scanning, looking for Moxie or Day. Oh, man, it's like the team knows exactly who I want to watch here. Penta and Moxie are still up. Day is actually out the game. Makes sense as to why we couldn't see him. Meanwhile, Carrot actually finds elimination there. Could we be seeing the writing on the wall right now for a miraculous comeback for Carrot in Somerset there? We'll see. Meanwhile, Moxie, though, hunting right now. 173 above. Oh, and they pulled a full zone, so a little bit more damage, and they'll be very much comfortable. However, for now, they have room to work with.
Yeah, this is like another team where you have an experienced superstar on the roster leading a team of just young and hungry players. Where Penta's only had one finals appearance so far, Moxie figures out a way to make it work along with Penta and Clutch Up. This will be his first FNCS finals appearance. And right now, they're in a good spot. 173 above the damage threshold, considering that they are a duo.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good for being a duo, but they will need to make an end game. This is where things start getting really intense. 101 above, one less person, obviously in the team to scout and help navigate this end game. It's up to Penta here to take the lead here. He's going to be the one making the shots, calling the rotates.
You can kind of see where they're aiming at.
In the walls there too.
Oh man, what a final game. We're going up the mountains just south of Brutal Boxcars. Already there's going to be the mountain in play, the hill. Luckily, it's just going to be a small one now and not even at the tip top. But Penta, he gets 2 quick eliminations there late in the game, trying to get themselves back into it. Oliver OG and Skater, another team at the top of the leaderboard, ripped apart from their trio, forced to play a duo game out.
Bila, Quanti, Edgy. Low ground right now. Find it.
Big.
Great refresh here. This is going to put them right back in the game here. Very, very nice. Meanwhile, shots coming in. Somehow they find it to be the focus from the mid-ground layers and the low-ground teams on the side. Wait a second. Okay, luckily, those extra mats definitely coming in handy right now as they have the material to burn here. Things are going to bounce back towards them, so this is why they don't really want to give up this spot just yet. Edgy takes the risk, though. He jumps in front, secures the loot, secures the mats. He's got it all. Can't stand in wood, though. You see what happens when you do. All focus starts to come in now.
Yeah, they're in the front on this rotation. They're trying to keep themselves in the front, and that's why they were trying to make that risky play to try to slide their way through, knowing that as long as they keep moving forward, they will have the advantage over every other team that is going to be on that low ground. But let's look at Hyde for a moment. Sandman, Havoc, and Degen, 98 points. This is a team that needs a good game here in order to make sure that they play in the Major 1 finals.
I'll be honest, I think they need the win to be real frank here. Another team that needs that win is going to be King on Expo. If he can't secure a lot more points here and now. Place of points still going. No way, I saw Somerset and Carry off in the distance there. This is a crazy game right now. A lot of teams that need that dub here are in the run. This is a insane play so far for King on Expo. He's just trying to do everything he can to stay in. Oh no, Carrot's down, Sieges is down. Not looking good for King. He dashes out. He's got a little spot to work with here. 6 mats left. Still keep it alive here. Top 12, top 11. Points are adding up. He's clutching right now heavily for his team. Let's not forget, NPen was at 171. We already know if a team goes down now, they're going to be right on the line to be pushed out of top 5.
Yeah, King on Expo started, I think, in 7th place on consistency. Their tournament is literally on the line here for a solo clutch, and he's figuring out a way to gather placement points with every team that goes down. There's another one, but no, it was actually King on Expo down in 11th place. But now it's Quanti, Edgy, and Bylaw's time to shine. They did more than enough zone after zone in the most recent 2 to not only get the front side, but replenish materials, and another elimination coming out from Bylaw.
The dream could still be alive for NPen's trios. They sit and wait. If Quanti, Edgy, and Byla win this, it's going to be all the more contentious on the standings. However, Oliver OG is still in this game right now. Anything can happen. Meanwhile, DJ and Sandman, Havoc from the high ground are clawing their way right up the standings here and into a potential win situation now. Chaos still alive here. Look at the points they've earned. They've surely done it.
There's only two full trios left in this game, and we're watching one of them on the low ground trying to persuade people to move in, and Chaos Gaming's gonna take the bait, and he gets taken down overall. Their 6th elimination, looking for more. Oliver OG in their sights, and they're trying to pressure him, force him to the backside of the zone. He moves down, and they move along with him. They want this elimination. They want the resources. They are hungry.
I mean, listen, they're the vets in this lobby, and for good reason right now. They have earned themselves plenty of points, and they kick down Oliver OG while they work their way through this last game here. Last opportunities now. Take a look at the bird's eyes view. It's Sandman, Havoc, and DJ from up top. Jido, the only one in between the 2 layers. He should be falling next, and then we're going to have a big 3v3 go down.
Yeah, there's so many builds here, so it's easy to get lost in confusion. But Edgy, he has the medallion, sneaks up on the solo, gets the elimination, 3 more points, but they need the win. They need to go even harder on this one, and now he's ready for the challenge. He moves up for a side shot, misses that opportunity, but one's gonna go down. Byla makes the play, Sandman's no more. Edgy's tracking shot after shot before finally going down. DJ says no more. Havoc gets the knock. They go back to back. Quanti's down by himself. 1v2 situation, but they are absolutely in shambles. No health, no HP. Quanti's trying to void orb towards the outside, give him a little bit of an advantage. He turns back, trying to get the beam. He needs it. He needs one of the knocks, but he does not get it. DJ clutches up, and another final appearance is underway.
So Quanti had the great play to try to play the side angle, but all he had to do was wait a couple moments, and he could have won just by being the healthier team. But in the end, they had to sit back and see if they did enough. Was a 2nd place game enough to put them inside the top 5 when they started this just near the top 15? What a game 5 that was. It's going to be keeping us on the edge. DJ and Sandman and Havoc, though, you have to give them the ultimate respect here for playing high ground and almost flawlessly taking it through to the end. Look at that catch onto Skater there, caught on the replay. And at the end, they almost threw it all. Edgy was cooking, but he missed the shot that mattered most to finish off Havoc. Take a look here. DJ was even willing to put it all on the table and push in, but he won that game. Match 5 goes to Havoc. DJ and Sandman, congratulations on your victory royale in your finals position now. Jacob, what a group 3.
Yeah, you said it one time during the course of that game, and I just saw it again in that replay. They needed the victory royale to get to the Major 1 finals. They simply did not have enough points going into that last game, and that right there, my friends, is how you take control over your own destiny. But that's going to be it for me and Monster D-Face for our group stages. We got to go ahead and bring back in our analysts to let us know what 5 teams made it in through consistency.
MDF just leaning back in his chair right there. I don't blame you, brother. That was a crazy end game. As Jacob pointed out, coming into this game, DJ, Sandman, and Havoc, they were 19th place, okay? If they did not get that victory royale, that's it. They have to go and fight their way through the last chance qualifier. But for them, they got themselves the victory royale. And now they don't have to think about that last chance. They're only thinking about Major 1 finals.
I am so excited that this trio made it through. Djinn has been a long-time veteran. Actually, one of the first shows I ever did for DreamHack. He was one of either first or second place back when he used to play with Agers. So I love to see him still being able to prove that he is a top competitor in the FNCS, and to do it by the skin of his teeth, by getting that final win of the day. You just love to see it, Vivid.
I mean, the pressure must have been on going into the last game, trailing by 60+ points behind that top 5 team on the consistency leaderboard, right? They had to have been feeling it a little bit, but embracing that, right? Going for the higher ground in the final game. And I'm not going to lie, I was completely wrong. I called it out. I was like, a lot of teams are going to need the win. It's going to be crazy on the higher ground. No, Djinn, Sandman, Havoc, they just had control of it the entire time. And of course, the final 3v3, Djinn gets 2 knocks out in the storm. Being well aware of that on the other side of things, tries to go for the bloom battle there, but does not win it out. Djinn wins it and goes to the finals.
Absolutely crazy. Now, of course, that begs the question, right? Did Quanti make it? We'll get there first. Let's remind ourselves of who got themselves the victory royale. We had 5 matches today, which meant if you get a victory royale, your trio's locked. That's it. You're going straight through to the Major 1 finals. Otherwise, we want to end it in the top 5 as far as consistency is concerned. And here's a look back at some of the names, well, all of the names really, who made it through in the victory royales. But I want to turn attention to the standings, okay? There's some things that unfolded on these standings that we have to break down. Obviously, congratulations to all these players who did make it through on the victory royale. But let's take a look at our top 5. Did Byla make it? Unfortunately, Vivid spoiled it. And yes, Quanti did in fact make it. We see them take up that 3rd spot there. But as well, look at some of these other names that we've kind of watched fight so much in these lobbies, right? Like Noah W Plays, Chaos Gaming, and Awesomer, as well as Oliver OG, Dash, and Skater. I mean, how many times did we see these guys up in that top 5 fighting for these spots? And to see this last game, Quanti, Byla, and Edgy say, look, this is it. It's now or never, and to secure a spot in the Major 1 finals must feel amazing.
Oh, man, just an incredible play, and they were so close to winning it too. But you know what? If you can't get the win, then you might as well get the placement points, and they were able to do that, sticking to the low ground throughout the entire game. They were constantly full of heals. They had great loadouts. They had good builds. It really just came down to the situation of a 3v3, and honestly, I think that they are proud of themselves. I think that this is exactly what they wanted to see, and I'm excited to see how they're going to be performing in the finals.
What an incredible game, though, right, for the consistency teams. I mean, I was looking at all of the teams that just qualified right there, like we pointed out. And, you know, one of them 7th, 6th, 5th, 2nd, 4th place, right? Our top 7 that game was almost completely filled with those top 5 teams, right? So that last game right there was very, very important. That's how close that leaderboard was going into that final and last game. But as we know, Quanti, Edgy, and Byla, yeah, they were just outside of that top 5 going into that game. But they were close enough to go ahead and clutch that one up. 183 points there being the cutoff.
Man, what a crazy time. Okay, listen. Let's flip on over to the second page, okay?
Oof.
I want you guys to take a look and see.
I don't want to.
So 183 was the cutoff. So we start to look at some of these names, right? Day 174 points. He ended that game in 8th place with 7 elims, right? Just on the cusp there. And even look at 13th place, NPen, right? Like 3 points behind Day. You know, the guys, this was a tough lobby. You know, Vivid, this was a really, really tough lobby.
No, I mean, it's crazy, actually, right? I just mentioned how close the leaderboard was. Look at that one bad game right there from NPen and Trio. They got 6, they lost 6 placements on the leaderboard right there from that bad game, right? So it was very, very close until the very end. I also got to, you know, give a shout out to Silic's team there. I feel like they were in the mix throughout the entirety of the day, but just the last couple of games did not work out for them.
Now, you definitely have to feel rough for NPen to go from a 2nd place game in game 4 to then having a really rough game 5 and losing those placements. It feels rough, but Zeke, all hope is not lost. We do
That's
still
right, Kelly.
have one more stage to go before we get to the finals.
That's what I like to hear, Kelly. We got one more chance before we get to the Major 1 finals, the last chance qualifier. We still have a shot. So you're saying there's a chance? Yes, yes, there is. That is coming up this week. Now, what that means for us is we are back next weekend. We will start to tackle the Major 1 finals. The first spot to secure that battle bus seat going to the Global Championship in Lyon. I can't wait to see all of you guys there. Don't forget, you can register right now because pre-sale for tickets starts on February 13th, and then it goes wider on the 14th. So make sure you're there. We would love to see you all in the Global Championship in Lyon because it is going to be a wild time. Before we say goodbye, guys, what are your thoughts, right? So obviously we've had 3 heats. Now we have to start prepping for finals. That's a whole different beast.
Yeah, you know, it feels like this could be an opportunity for a bit of a reset for a lot of these trios right now. And this is the first time that all of them are going to be competing together, and kind of like what we saw with the Eval Cups and Division 1 tournaments, where this isn't just the group stages where there's kind of a lot of newer trios going through. They can play kind of a little bit more recklessly, especially those, you know, very confident trios that we have like Kanada's trio or Clix's trio or Peterbus trio. This is when they're all going to be facing each other. So they have to reset. They have to like hunker down, do some reviewing, and prepare, because only 2 go forward into those globals.
3 separate groups, the 10 qualifying players or teams from each one of them clashing together in the early game. What's the off spawn situation is going to look like? Who's going to be uncontested? Who's going to be contested? That middle game, how are these teams going to rotate around each other, get that storm surge? All of these teams are going to be cracked at aiming. It's going to be tough. And then of course the end game, we saw a bunch of teams qualify from the high ground, saw a bunch of teams qualify from the low ground, but those positions are tough to hold on to when multiple teams want them. It's going to be exciting. Major 1 finals next weekend. I'm going to be there.
That's right. Now, of course, thank you all so much. We hope you have a fantastic week. And until next weekend, we love you. Keep yourself safe. See you on that battle bus.
Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.